No.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the 563rd episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I'm the man without fear, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by...
I'm Save Us Andor, Kirkland Patzer.
Hey, I'm Dylan.
I'm the Ann of Doors, Taylor Field.
Something about that just doesn't...
Who's
Love
mine or
right.
his? You reacted to mine.
His for
Okay.
sure. Save Us Andor, I got it, because like, yeah, that makes sense. Taylor's, Taylor had a great one last for the Captain America review, and he peaked there. You know, that was it.
Oh, and I'll
We're
peek
back
again.
to downhill.
Just you wait.
I think your peaking days are
Guy's ready to
over.
peak.
Yeah. Sorry, Kirkland, I cut you off the theme song. Do you need to talk about your thumb?
No, we're
Okay.
good.
You just look
Thanks for asking, though. I had a little
well,
boo-boo at work.
There you go.
And if anyone asks, I
Aw.
reported it like you should.
Workers'
safe.
comp.
Yep.
Said he didn't want to talk about it, but then he talked about it, so, you know. it's
Oh,
all
fuck
good.
it. You're the one that circled back.
Circle back.
Just want you to have your moment. I saw the music playing, and I saw you talking in your mic, so I thought, oh, man, he really wanted to share this about
He's
his
talking
thumb.
throughout
It's
the
like,
whole
wait, that
intro.
mutes me? That mutes me? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm just chatting away.
It's like, because obviously tonight we're recording it after this, but it won't be live. Patrons, you'll get it right away, but then the regular people that we still love and support. But the patrons, patrons go above and beyond. They give us their hard-earned money to support the show, get more content, everything like that. So we very much appreciate it. But I was having to dig because I haven't done it for the Marvel side, but Golden Geeks says, okay, this year I want to get every winner we've had, and I did. So I had to go through a lot of YouTube casts because their audio's like gone.
There's
right?
got to
It's
be
like-
an AI that can do that for you, I think. Right, Taylor?
Oh, there is.
Yeah, but do
Probably
I
gotta
want to
pay for it.
Do I
would
want to do
imagine.
that though? Do I want to give in to the machine? Not yet. I'm
You
not.
could have
the
saved yourself
brutalist
3
over here.
hours.
You're already using a water pick, so that's like basically the machine.
Yeah,
I may
water
have
picks
had
are the
some free
AI
time.
of toothbrushes.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So is
I'm
that a
all
shaver
natural.
too?
I'm all natural with just some, some twine.
Do you, Mr. Bidet? Fuck off. He has a fucking
Okay.
machine
I treat
cleaning
my
his
butt
ass
right,
over
that's for
here.
sure, yeah.
That's AI. But
I only cook things with a magnifying glass and the sun. I don't use a stove. That's too much AI.
Winter months are rough.
no. As I say, you watch Survivor. You have enough of the fire making skills to.
I think
the
watching people make fire on TV is different from making it in real life, don't you think?
Fire. I can do it.
Anytime
okay,
I see someone
cool.
on TV, I'm like, I could do that.
You have to teach me.
That's easy.
We will whole camp. But anyway, so I was going through lots of videos, and always the beginning of each cast, there's like 4 to 5 minutes of downtime because I don't know if you guys remember, the camera used to be my phone, and we put it like we had a laptop. It was Dylan's this is a custom. Oh, actually, even at his basement, so there's always like we're sitting in a semicircle, like a half circle, so the camera can see us, and the laptop's by me, but it's like far away, but still close enough for like a cord to get to, but there's always I had to hit it, go sit there, make sure we were live, because I was back. I can't even remember what we used to use. There's some
Audacity,
program-
right?
No, that was the record, which I hate Audacity, thank goodness. But no, there was some program that was an app on my phone that could live stream. It wasn't OBS. I can't remember it. I'd have to look
yeah.
at some of my old phones.
That's a
but-
throwback.
yeah, so because that's why I was always like I had to make sure, and sometimes the signal wasn't there. But there used to be, I won Golden Geeks. It was like 12 minutes before we even got into it. Some people's dream, some people's nightmare. It all depends on GV listener. I feel like there's like a pre-endgame and post-endgame. Pre-endgame listeners, they know like we're fine with the ramble and everything like that. Post, it's like nah, get into it. You know what I'm talking about right now? 1 star. Like I don't need to hear about the past Geek first, but yeah, Golden Geeks will be live in a couple days. But it was fun to look back. I miss those days. Obviously, it's great. We talk about we couldn't do this and all the episodes we do if we're in person because it just wouldn't be relatable. But it was just great seeing that room and like sometimes still those days be hot in Dylan's custard dome bedroom, but it was
Super hot. Yeah.
yeah, those summer casts were a little stinky, but it was a good time. It was just definitely a different vibe. I felt like I don't know why why. Probably because you guys were around and I would just get hyped up and feel like I have to talk over you like a jerk. But I'm like, why am I so loud on all these casts? I know I'm still loud.
We could never get it quite right, could we, with the Yeti? It was
no,
impossible.
we couldn't. Yeah, it was. But so luckily we're here now doing this podcasting. It's great. We haven't done this in a few weeks. So Dilmas, what have you been watching? Before I guess you go, we got lots of things to talk about. Big Star Wars news, Daredevil predictions, big DCU news. So a big overall thing. I'll plug some stuff later. But Dylan, what have you been watching?
Well, we got a juice-filled episode here tonight, so I think I'll be quick with 2 TV shows that I've been watching. Just the latest and greatest shows. I'm up to date on Severance Season 2 and White Lotus Season 3. Man, I'm really curious to hear what other people think of Severance. The people I've talked to about it are as unimpressed as I am. I'm just not digging the season at all. It is not. It's kind of picking up exactly where the first season ended, but it is not really what I'm wanting out of this. And yeah, so I'm a little disappointed with that. We'll see how it goes. I don't know how many more weeks there is, like 3 or 4 maybe. But White Lotus on the 2nd episode now, and goddamn, I just love White Lotus. It is definitely my favorite show on TV right now. And I think they already confirmed season 4, so I'm very, very excited about that. It's very much the same. This one feels especially similar to season 1, but I don't care. I just love the characters, the writing, the funny shit that happens, the good visuals, the music. I've been adding so many songs like my Spotify playlist, just some banging music in there. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that so far. It's only on episode 2, but so far so good. So far, I think character-wise, I mean, there's a lot of great ones in there, but Walton Goggins, he's such a great pairing for Mike White's writing style and like these types of characters. It's like kind of his usual type, but like slightly different, and I'm really enjoying that. But everyone's crushing it so far. So I think I'll just leave it at those 2 for today. Very, very much loving White Lotus. If anyone hasn't watched it yet, what are you doing? Walk. Don't run. Run, don't walk, rather. Go check it out right now. You need to see it. Because I don't think any of you guys have been watching the show, which is ridiculous.
No.
I've seen 1 episode. I watched the pilot, and Shannon and I were both
Not enough.
We were both digging it, but for whatever reason, we just didn't continue on. I feel like it was in between either House of the Dragon era, like we were just watching something else that we didn't want to commit to that. But we got a couple.
It's only
of shows
6
that are
episodes
on the
per
go.
season, so easy.
That's very palatable. Especially coming up
Highly
Daredevil,
palatable.
hour-long, 13 episodes. I'm ready for a smaller.
Forgot that
smaller.
it was 13 as I'm watching through it. It's like I'm like to go into my spots. One thing, White Lotus. Yeah, I think we're gonna start in April because right now we have Crave canceled. But then when Last of Us is back, we'll get it back for that because
Nice.
we had to finish another show I'm gonna tell, and then we got to finish The Bear. So we had a couple of shows that we kind of stopped in the middle of, even though I heard The Bear from many people kind of not the greatest season, but like okay, we'll finish it. But so yeah, White Lotus will be on deck with Last of Us. We were gonna try and watch Buffy because we're big Buffy fans. We haven't seen it in years, but I think we're gonna wait closer because they're doing that revival. They're doing like a revival reboot of the show, so I think we're gonna wait for that. But yeah, the only thing's been watching. I've been watching Daredevil, so I've watched Daredevil season 1, 2, Defenders, and then I'm on 3 right now. I just forgot how key Defenders is. Defenders very key into watching.
Say that again.
Cheap plug. Go watch and listen to. It'll be out this week, everybody, for the patrons. But right now, Daredevil Retro 1 and 2 is out right now for everybody, and then 3 will be out in a couple days here, featuring Taylor Kirkland. They finally made good. Didn't think it would happen, but they made good on saying they would watch all Daredevil. Say it. They have watched it, so won't spoil any thoughts there. We'll talk a little Daredevil again during predictions, but and yeah, I'm on Daredevil season 3, episode 4 right now, and I was like, oh, I gotta start moving. I still got till next Tuesday, but it's just there are longer episodes, and there's other things that I do want to watch. And then there are no movies. I watched some Oscar movies, but check out me, Maddie, Mike, and April. We did Oscars predictions this weekend, so I talked about them there. So you can go find out my full review. Very fun cast. Thank those people for joining me. It's always a good time. So
I was talking to my aunt over the weekend. She
Yeah.
was just shitting all over Nora, and then praising the Bob Dylan movie. I'm like, come on. The Bob Dylan movie, that's so safe. I haven't seen it. I'm sure it's great, but like, come on. She's like, that's what deserves to win. She's hating on Nora.
Did
I was like, I'm not going to get into it, but like...
Did she list any specific reason? Because I've heard one complaint about Honora is that like you can tell it's directed by a dude. I still think it's a great movie, but I could understand certain point of views, especially like Mikey, like, and she was fine with it. She said she didn't want no what is they called? The coordinators now. I can't remember.
Intimacy.
Intimacy. She didn't want any of that, but there's lots of her scenes looking great, lots of sex scenes. But I could see maybe I'm watching with Emily this week. We'll see, because last year we did Poor Things and she hated it. But I'm like, you should watch this. It's probably gonna win Best Picture, just so you know. But did she give a reason?
Not really. I tried to get some reasons out, but I think it was a vibes-based assessment.
That's fair.
Or she didn't want to share her true thoughts. Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say to you, Dylan, because I'm not watching it. Dalton says Severance is phenomenal to me. My timeline is that. It's 50-50. It's people like you very disappointed, or it's people like this is still the best show on TV.
To be fair, it could still stick the landing, but there's been some weird stuff going on in here. And every episode, like the last week's cliffhanger, okay, I'm excited for this week. Like I'm excited to see what happens there, but yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of that in this show. Every episode always leaves you right on the edge.
Big edger. And then the only show I'm watching right now, because I canceled Paramount Plus because Dexter's done, and then I'll get
Look
it.
at you canceling like a madman over here.
Oh yeah, that's why like a mini rant before, and people are like, oh, streaming's just as bad as cable. No, it's not. Not at all. If you manage it, if you just subscribe to everything and keep it, then sure. But like, one, I'm paying for things I want, and two, yeah, I got rid of Crave last month, and then Paramount Plus this month, and then boom, and now I'm not getting anything else right now. I got Netflix, Disney Plus, and Prime. That's all right now, and it's like it's nice. So we're finishing The Agency. I think I talked about it last year, but Agency it's a Michael Fassbender show where he's playing a CIA agent. I could just combine those two words. I've always wanted him to play Bond. It's not as sexy as that. It's way more like realistic, like counterterrorism, like sneaking around, different personalities. But Jeffrey Wright's in it. Jodie Turner-Smith's in it. It's really good. It's picking up. It's one of these shows where there's like 6 to 7 different storylines going on, and you don't know how they're going to interlinked, but slowly but surely you're like, oh, okay, I see this piece, but it's the thing that like it is quite slow. So me and Emily usually watch about 2 episodes, but we got till March 2nd. I think we're going to finish. We're at 5, but it's really, really good. We're actually getting some like a minor action, but Fassbender in a show, I'm there, and it's actually great. And it got renewed in December 1st, season 2, so that's a good thing. That like gave me the oomph of like, okay, it's coming back. I'm really enjoying it, so I'm excited to see where it goes. So yeah, I'm just watching TV right now. I don't really have any movies on the docket. I do want to watch A Complete Unknown, but it's all about Daredevil. I got to finish that before Tuesday. I was gonna try and get Punishers done, but we'll talk about Punisher later. I think I got another chance to do that. So Taylor, what about you?
Oh man, so Madison tossed on No Hard Feelings the other day. That was fun to rewatch it, 'cause I don't think I've seen that since had to have been the drive-in actually.
What is this movie again?
Scream.
Who's in this?
Jennifer
J-Lo.
Lawrence.
Naked on the Beach.
Oh yes.
Naked on the
Great
Beach,
movie.
yeah.
Great
I
German
loved it.
suplex.
That movie, I forgot how funny it really is with just certain comedic beats. It's actually it's a really good time. So we watched
Golden
that.
Geek nominated performance by Jennifer Lawrence right there. So
Hell yeah.
So yeah, after that, what else did we do? We watched TMNT. Madison just had a craving to watch the original Turtles, all the turtle stuff going on lately in Call of Duty. So popped that on, and that was a great time. Just quoting the heck out of that movie. It was just fantastic. I like to do this thing, and I think Madison gets pissed off because I do it with Star Wars,
Welcome to the
Jurassic
Gulag.
Park, and with TMNT now as well. I'll quote a line, but like 3 to 5 seconds before they say it in the movie. And it just
That sounds very
feel like
annoying.
it is. I'm sure she finds it annoying. I've never asked her. I should probably ask her eventually, but I love doing
you
it.
should
'cause
before
it-
she divorces you over it.
Well, when the character says the line and it's word for word, I just feel empowered. Like fuck yeah. But when they mess up, they say the line and I mess up by like a word, I think, oh god,
Oh, you
I
feel the
fucked up. I
worst.
fucked
Yeah.
up. Like, but
Oh, I fucked up, guys.
oh no.
The night before is just even better now that I know who that is in that limo. So you know,
Yeah.
that's great. The movie gets better every year.
That aside, show-wise, we just usually when we're having dinner, we'll just throw on an episode of Hell's Kitchen, watch that, and just. It still blows my mind that these high-quality chefs, and they're not talking at the start of the competition when there's questionable chefs at that point, but like near the back half, towards the end, when there's like only like maybe like 8 chefs left between both teams, and it's like, okay, they're still serving up like raw meat, and it's like, man. I don't work in that industry, so I can't speak to it. But I just feel like how does that really happen? How do they plate like a raw beef Wellington on there, or a raw steak?
Well,
like
don't some people want raw? Like, isn't the lots of people order certain meals?
that's
like,
true.
raw
But when
rare, right?
Ramsey
Not
when
raw,
Ramsey when Ramsey says it's raw and sends
It's
it back and like
fucking
smashes
raw.
it, it's like, okay, that's not good.
And maybe it's because they're fucking cooking with that guy and then kitchen.
Yeah, that'd be stressful.
Yeah,
Just
maybe because they
ready
have
to fight.
5 minutes to make a dish.
That's true.
Gordon Ramsay's staring at you like Kingpin, like you offended Vanessa or something like that. Like he's
in front of Vanessa.
You serving Vanessa raw meat.
raw meat in front of Vanessa. How could you? Mr. Patzer, what you watching?
Yeah, no, I mean, coming off hot at Daredevil, that was kind of the main thing on my plate as of late. Go check out those
Hot
episodes for
takes
my
in that
thoughts there.
retro. Go
Nice,
listen to
Ryan.
retro.
Absolutely. But what I've been watching lately, I haven't watched an anime in a very long time. That was just like a chapter of my life when I was like watching a lot of anime, and I took a hiatus, and then a couple shows would like grip me in, and then I just haven't been lately. You know, we're just busy watching other stuff, I guess, and sometimes late at night I just want to throw on The Office or a show that I've seen 1,000 times. I can just wind down.
Emily's watching The Office
Parks and
right now
Rec.
again. Fuck.
Oh yeah, it's just always a rotation show. But anyways, Shay put this anime on my radar 'cause she had binged it the whole. I don't even know how long. I think it was over Christmas or something. She just like powered through it. A couple days off for work, and then yeah, she just did it in like 2 sittings. And it is a Netflix anime called Delicious in the Dungeon. I don't know if you guys
Nice.
have
I watched an
Netflix
episode
or
or
if you've
two.
just seen it. Oh yeah,
I think I've
there you
seen
go.
it like scroll by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
fun, very
she
fun.
claims that it's like her favorite anime of all time, and I saw it. I'm
Whoa.
like, okay, that's a
Shay,
wild
chill.
claim. She's seen
Bold
some
play.
big time animes too, so I'm like, really, like, come on, how can you say that? And now that I've been watching it, like I'm about halfway through. I think it's 24 episodes. We're on episode 13. She's watching with me for a nice little rewatch because she loves it so much. But now that I'm watching it, I totally get why she thinks that because it's just such a masterfully written show of like it balances great adventuring, great character like depth. Like I feel like every character has some like just phenomenal backstories and just character building. The show starts like very just. I don't want to say slice of lifey because it is based in fantasy land, but it's just like it's just kind of a nothing show where they're just like killing monsters and then cooking them up, and then it's just like a big emphasis on like the cooking portion. Funny how you're mentioning Gordon Ramsay, but like this is like this one dwarf is just like a master chef. Like he just makes these like whatever like name a monster like an orc or something, and he just like cooks it up, and it looks like a 5-star meal that you just want to eat. And the way that anime drawers can just do like food and stuff. Studio Ghibli is just so famous for that, for making like meals just look so delicious, even though it's an anime. But anyways, the show like takes a pretty dark. I'm not gonna say a turn, but it just gets like a lot more mature at a certain point of the show, which is kind of where I'm at right now, which I was not expecting at all. Just because every episode is like. It's very D&D as well, which I think is another reason why I'm loving it so much. It's really making me want to jump back into Baldur's Gate, actually. Just like the idea of a party adventuring through these dungeons and just interacting with other monsters and other like party just other players. But anyways, it starts really just simple of an idea, but then later on it's like really high stakes stuff is going on. It's like gut wrenching with certain characters that are lost, and it's just it's a really, really phenomenal show. And it's really just like been scratching that anime itch that I didn't really think that I had still, because I just haven't been watching it. But watching it again, I'm like, man, I gotta watch more anime. This stuff's so good. There's many on my radar, or not my radar, sorry, that on my list that I had been watching as like a big fan, like some big ones like Attack on Titan. I never even finished that just because I had watched it up until the point that it was on the last season. And then they did like the Invincible thing where it was like a season break, a mid-season break, which I hate it when shows do that. I get it when it's like a really big show and they're just trying to milk that money, you know, for to build
Milk
up
that
the hype
money.
and everything. But it just kills the hype, I feel, and like the momentum of getting through a show. So still haven't finished that one. My Hero Academia is another one that's like really massive that I loved, and I'm so far behind on that. Even like Dragon Ball Super, that's completely over. There's just a lot of anime out there to watch, and some really, really phenomenal ones. And I'm really glad that I finally jumped into Delicious in the Dungeon. And I highly, highly recommend it. Even to like non-anime fans, it's just a nice, wholesome show. Again, I just mentioned how it gets pretty dark later on, but still, for the most part, it's really easy, fun watch, and really great characters, great intro. Go watch that show.
There you go.
Awesome. I'll have
High
to check out more of that
praise.
when I get Netflix again.
Good to see God Loves Me 69 in the chat. The menu was a warning. Good to see you, sir. You still owe me for last GV day. He said he'd make it up to me. Still hasn't yet, you know. But alas, here we go. Speaking of making up, before we get into this, wanted to bring this up for the next newscast. We're all together. So a few weeks ago, very controversial thing happened. I'm gonna blame my tired brain. I'm gonna see what happens here. But Mike, Superman Mike, nice enough to throw myself a lifeline and say, hey, something's a little fishy. We did the we did the movie 2025 draft. People don't know. It works like a fantasy system where we all draft 10 movies, and then we see the box office, and then at the end of the year, we do a tally, and whoever has the most wins said year, right? So I drafted Moana live action as my first movie, which Mike did tell me that very bold to draft a 2026 movie for the 2025 draft. So what I am saying here, and I'm getting this live recorded so that people know, I would like to draft another movie, obviously. My preference or my case is there's multiple times where I have saved each and every one of you by saying, no, that's going to Netflix. Kirkland, remember when you tried to draft whatever. And you one time, I know you tried to draft a Netflix movie, Taylor. And then I'm pretty sure the year before, Dylan, you tried to draft a movie that was like dead. It was Mickey 17 the year before. One year you tried to draft it, said, no, don't do that. It's already been pushed. So I
did it anyway.
You did do it anyway, actually, but there is a record because I said there's rumors it's not making this year, and you're like, I'll take it anyway. So again, I'm not saying we're redrafting. I'm not saying, I get one of your top picks. I'm clearly getting a bottom one, but I would in the game of sportsmanship like to draft dead my Moana draft and then put something else as my number one draft pick up there.
I mean, if one of my things get delayed, do I get to do a new pick?
But you picked it knowing it was that year. I just made a fluff up, I thought it was this year. Of course, if I knew it was 2026, I would not draft said movie,
This just doesn't, there's no trade going on here. I just lose and you win.
What do you lose?
I lose that you get a new pick, and that's not looking good for my draft.
That is true, but in his defense, I do think like if we're to win, any of us three are to win. I mean, it's only a partial win. It's not a full win because he's not it's not a full circle complete win. We already are just taking advantage of kicking him while he's down. I don't know if I get that win and I want that third win. I want it to be everyone at their full strength.
Oh, Taylor doesn't want me all year talking about how it was a
he doesn't want to
win.
Sandbag it. Okay,
Taylor, if I get that win, I'm gonna to.
Memories bring back your... I won't forget you, buddy.
That's one. That's your one.
That's my one. I'll take it.
What was even the context of that? How did that fit into
the pause? Just totally pulls you out of the.
We gotta edit these videos. They're too long. They're too long of a break. Don't even mention the I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah,
but I'll give you this pass, Travis, because you did save me in the recent draft.
Thank you.
All right, what's
my
your
vote.
pick? What's your pick?
I'm gonna pick the Black Phone 2. Comes out October. Halloween movie
it's not gonna
is
make any
between that and The Accountant. Yeah, it's not. Because Dylan made that joke. If I knew the Resurrection of Christ was out this year, I would 100% yes, because I think that movie's gonna make bank. But it's still very iffy. So I'm taking the Black Phone 2. The first one made like 160 million. That was my thinking. So that's what I'm gonna take.
In hindsight,
good.
maybe I should have pitched like a first round draft pick next year. How like sports, you can draft. you
I
can
would
do
have gave it
trades
up.
for draft
I would have given
positions.
it up, but it's too late. So there we go.
I got too excited.
Thank
to-
you,
to just
gentlemen.
pick
So
the
now next year, when you beat me, you can say, "Look, you screwed up. We gave you a movie. You lost fair." And I will not, because I will fully admit that was my screw up. So if anyone wins, there is no asterisk win now. That was me doing bad. If you're playing poker, blackjack, you read the cards wrong. I read them wrong big time. So
And what pick was that for you? That was your number one.
my
of the
number
year?
one was Moana.
Yeah, that's
live
rough.
action.
That is very rough.
That's a woof. Yeah.
So I lost out on a lot of good picks, but you know what? That's okay. Espo says it's like when Travis had the Rock Chills video with the screen recording at ending. left for a while.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because when I first uploaded it, it didn't get there. StreamYard, even the same way too. It's like it just cuts videos in a weird way. But Wicked for Good is now my new number one pick. Mike is completely right. So what a full circle moment. But Mike, you will be happy. In the listing, we have it Wicked for Mike at my name. So it better take me to Promised Land. But speaking of Promised Land, our Patreon. You should do that. You can get episodes ad-free, early, exclusive. The originals drop this week. I'm not sure. March is coming up, so I know there will be a bread and butter. You'll get 2 Superman retros. So one will be for the Phase 2 and up. One will be for the producers. I think it's Superman 4 and Supergirl, which are dropping. So we're very close to the end of those dropping. All Fantastic Four is up there. I'm trying to think what else is coming. There'll be an After 9. Lots of good stuff coming, so we very much appreciate the support. And just in general, there's lots of reviews happening this month. We're going to talk about some of them, so it's just good to get those ad-free early. We put those up on the feed first, so we very much appreciate it. A shout out to the Patreon producers. Thank you very much. Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam, Superman Mike, God Loves Me 69, Jeremy Redder, and Charlie Randell. We appreciate each and every one of you and everyone that listens. If you can't do that, join the Discord, subscribe on the podcast feeds or the video feeds, whatever you may do. Lots of good stuff going on. Check out, we got side quests. What did you guys talk about this week, Mr. Muss?
Oh, we talked about some of the games we've been playing, such as Avowed is the new hotness there. We did another Pokemon Gen 2 quiz, Kirkland. I threw Taylor back in the ring there, and he did pretty good on his own, not going to lie.
Yeah.
But you got to tune into the episode to find out how well
Taylor did
he
carry
truly
me
did.
that first round, so
I was
I'll
missing
admit
you
that here.
on this test, Kirkland. I needed that help.
There's a couple niche ones I remember.
Yeah, and then I'll be on next week, and I don't know all the topics. But
Oh
I
my
assume we're
God,
gonna talk
the
about
industry is
Wonder Woman
imploding
and-
right now, so
Yeah.
we'll have a lot to talk about.
It's such a bad omen. But yeah, we got that. Me and Dylan will be doing some weekly geek this week. I got some trailers saved. I got some Spider-Man news. So there's already some news I could have put here, but I've overflowed it to Thursday. It's just juicing right now. And then this weekend, the gimmick's got back. The gimmick is back with myself, S Bubs, and David. Tune in that show because we got a couple announcements. Should be a fun thing. We are reviewing Elimination Chamber, and actually we'll do the results of our draft because our gimmick draft is coming to an end on that episode. And I need a really good show on Saturday to beat S Bubs. We're like 100 points difference, but in the wrestling draft, that's very close. He's long gone. I'm sorry, David, but I'm hoping for a good chamber. But you know what I'm hoping for is a good Star Wars new leadership happening. So we got this. This came out late last night from Puck, and then a bunch of other places. Puck is more like a Business Insider one, so that
It's like a hockey podcast or something.
Is it an
Yeah, it's
acronym
not.
or is it just called Puck?
I don't know. I actually don't know because they don't do scoops all the time, but when they do scoops, it is more the business oriented of Hollywood. So this came out, and then everybody like S tier scoopers jumped on it. So clearly this had been out, and I'm not sure if like Kennedy and her team or Lucasfilm were like, hey, don't say anything. Like I'm wondering because it came out at like I can't remember last night. It was like 8, 9, like it came out on the Eastern time. It would have been like 11, 12. Like it was late. It's not when news is dropping. So that's why I feel like someone blew the whistle. Like, okay, we're gonna push this out because everyone's like, oh yeah, I've heard this since the end of 2024. Oh, I heard this in November. It's like, well, why are we hearing about it now? But supposedly the report is that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down at the end of 2025. Obviously, she took over whenever they did the buyout. I think it's 2013, 2012, and George stepped down. He recommended her saying, hey, she had already been a co-president of Lucasfilm, but said, hey, I'm selling this. I want her to run everything. She did. Obviously, it's been a very mixed road, lots of high highs, but lots and lots and lots of low lows. So it's been all over. Obviously, she's stepping down. There's no like right now as far as who's the front runner other than people think it's going to be Filoni, but there's a lot of people that think that Disney might not go that route. Obviously, we're in a strange time because Bob Iger is also retiring in 2026. And then obviously Feige, there's lots of rumblings, which we're going to talk about Feige here. But yeah, she's supposedly stepping down. Filoni's been tossed about. Favreau's been tossed about. Apparently, there is from S-tier scoopers saying Feige has expressed interest of taking over. I don't know if that would mean both or that would mean leaving the Marvel post. I would imagine. But now this, and it could just be somebody like an Emma Watts, who's a big-time producer at Warner Brothers for a while, left, and she's been doing stuff for a while, or just somebody else out there in the ether, like how we learned about Big Dan Lin, right? We didn't know Big Dan Lin, and then he was going to be the DC guy. And then now he's not. Now he's at Netflix making Christopher Nolan AI videos. But it's James Gunn. Maybe it's a partnership. I don't know. So, Kirk, I'm going to throw it to you because I saw you smile. So, take it. What do you think about this?
I feel like this has been a long time coming, just with how spicy some of our casts have been around the Star Wars subject. I'm not like a big follower on the ins and outs of what's going on with like the general maybe audience's opinion on Kathleen Kennedy. It's just based on kind of with certain projects.
They don't
that
know
are
who that
pitched
is.
and then don't come out. Like that's just been a repetitive thing. And to me, someone fucked up for that to happen, and the easiest person to blame is the one at the top of the pyramid. So I definitely think that they should be taking the most of the weight of that flack, if there even is that. Like, I don't really know what the internal discourse is amongst like the Lucasfilms or anything like that. Like what, yeah, just the overall vibe. Like, do they think they're killing it? Like, you know, like for the last few years, it's been like, Kathleen, you're so good at your job. We're gonna keep re-signing your contract, and you're the bee's knees, lady. Like, is that the internal, or has it been you need to perform, or this is you're out, Norman? And
Well, even
we're not
with
gonna fire
this
you
is-
because this is such a big position. People in those positions usually don't get fired; they're stepping down.
leave,
you know,
yeah.
that's how. Yeah, exactly.
And people don't know if that is it. People don't know if it's a her decision or if it's like
Well, just
it'd be a
based
good
on
thing for
what's
you to
been pitched, and
retire.
it's not like nothing's coming out. So to me, something is wrong for that to be happening, right? Like that's my perspective on it. So to hear this news, it's just like, well, yeah, that was gonna happen at some point. I'm surprised maybe it took this long, but the fact that we haven't had another Star Wars movie since, was it actually
2019.
the last Skywalker? Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Rise of Skywalker. The last Skywalker.
I was gonna say the
will probably
last
be episode
Skywalker
10.
saga movie is what I meant
Yeah.
to say. So, but
So
yeah,
we're at
no,
6
so-
years now.
So for me, it's just kind of been like a long leak. Now the tire's finally flat, like, and she's leaving. I'm a lot more intrigued on kind of who's going to be stepping into that role, and just what their pitch is. You know, like when James Gunn and Peter Safran.
Yeah, you got
Nice. I'm learning, guys. I
Talk about
finally know
it
his
later.
name. The number 2. Like when they stepped in, it's like this is the slate. This is what's happening. And of course, you know, famously we had the Star Wars slate of what's going to be happening. We saw some of those projects. But I'm just intrigued if that is going to be the case, or if it's just going to be a quiet takeover. Nothing really is changing. I hope it's not that case though.
2 things. God Loves Me 69 says easy but hard to place the blame with so many moving parts and investors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. And I don't think it's all like it's just Kathy Kennedy, right? Like I don't think there's a bunch of stuff that happened. And like if you look at her track record, one of the greatest producers of all time. Like she helped Spielberg produce Jurassic Park. Like arguably could be the greatest movie of all time. And even like when Star Wars started, I think it was good, but there's just even other things like the Han Solo thing. You could say that's her fault, but maybe not her fault. Like you could say maybe it's a good thing. Like they were making a bad movie and she decided to pivot, right? You could say why didn't you agree before, but and I think like what you're talking about, Kirkland, the problem was I won't say the problem, but I guess the good thing for her was anytime there was like a misstep, it's like okay, Rise of Skywalker came out, but Mando was happening, and that was a huge win. And there's a bunch of meh, but then Andor came out, and they got like lots of praise for it and stuff. So now I don't know if it's just the timing. There was some rumors. There's a bunch of stuff. There's rumors that she was originally going to retire after Indiana Jones because they thought it was going to be a big win. So she was going to kind of go out like, you know, home run, I'm out of here. And then that didn't work out. And then there's also rumors that when the whole Chapek Iger thing happened, that they asked her, like, could you just stay on for a bit? Because remember, Iger retired. They got Chapek. He came in, pissed everyone off, Feige, all this stuff. They said make 10 Disney Plus shows, all this stuff. And then Iger came back. And that is a rumor that supposedly she did try to leave originally. And they're like, just like, wait, we don't want you to go. So again, like people might, I know some people are going to definitely spin it as like, oh, Disney got her out. It legitimately could just be her like, hey, I'm done. Like she's like, I think she's near 70. She's been working. She has like a 50 plus career. Like you look at her IMDb credits, like way before we were talking about her on the podcast for Star Wars, she's working a bunch of different movies and like Indiana Jones before, right? And E.T., like a bunch of stuff. So Armani Martinez says, does this prove the Last Jedi impacted Star Wars and its viability for the future and after? I know some people put that on Last Jedi. I personally don't. I put that more on Rise of Skywalker and the aftermath, like what Kirkland said, of just the stop and start projects. I know like a bunch of people on the internet hate Last Jedi and whatnot, and they killed Luke, but like I think if Last Jedi was really that bad, Rise of Skywalker wouldn't have made $1 billion. I think Rise of Skywalker was more damaging because that felt like that was like, because that was the ending to it all, right? It's the last time you see Leia, last time you see Luke. So it's like even if the middle chapter is like, oh right, the ending though, that has to be special, and the fact that it's not. But do you guys subscribe to that at all? Do you think Last Jedi is where this all started, or do you think it's kind of a collection of things? Because I know a lot of people are gonna have that narrative of like, oh, it was good until that movie came out, you know?
No, I don't think so. I definitely echo what you mentioned there. Where Rise of Skywalker is just more significant of a negative notch.
Dylan, you think that's where all went wrong? Last Jedi?
Oh God, I have no idea. I need to hear Taylor's thought on this.
Okay, Taylor.
I would say that's where things became divisive.
Divisive. But do you think that's the starting point where they couldn't recover? Like Last Jedi came out, and from that, no matter what Kathy did, they were just fucked. Because like a couple years later, Mando comes out and huge.
No,
hit
that's
for them, right?
not where it started, and things were downhill. I would
What'd you
say I don't think that's where it started, where things were going downhill.
Say it again.
I thought you did say that though. I thought you said yes.
I think that's where the fan base became divisive, but I don't think
Okay.
that's where people were starting to throw the blame onto Kathleen Kennedy when Last Jedi came out.
that was definitely more Ryan Johnson. I think that was more people are like, oh, this guy came in and he ruined Star Wars, even though it's like all these execs approve and they gave him his own trilogy, right? So they liked what he was doing, but. And finally, SBUB says, it'd be interesting to do a cast looking at all the canceled scrap Star Wars stuff for the last 10 years. Stay tuned in July because we have a bunch of casts planned for our 10-year, and that is pretty much the thing we're going to do for Cantina Conversations is just look at the last 10 years of – because, like, really, Force Awakens came out the first year the podcast started, so we've been there, so we're going to – SBUBs, stay tuned. But Taylor, Dylan said he wants to hear more from you. So, Taylor, what do you feel about this whole – situation about Kathy, and then you got any preference of who you want to take the crown? Big Dan Lin?
Big Dan Lin. Yeah, so we've talked about this many a time before, just the Kathleen Kennedy and all that, and just the issues and stuff that Disney is having with Star Wars. It's not great. So her planning a retirement and the news kind of dropping at the wee hours that it did, I think, okay, is she just beating something to the punch here because something was being played around? And she renewed her contract, 2 years ago? I feel like it was when we were doing that Star Wars Celebration late night stream, Travis. I thought that was around there.
I think it was around that time. Yeah.
So something is obviously causing her to cut that short because I don't think you just cancel midway through a contract like this. I think.
But didn't you say 2-year contract? Because I thought it
was a 5-year, a 4 or 5 year, and I think it's 2 years into it now. She's canceling it. I think. Either way, I'm pretty sure she's not fully completed that contract with them. So there's something going on there. Now I know at the end of the day, like I love Dave Filoni. I love the stuff, the certain projects that he does because there's a certain connection to those characters that I can jive with. But at its core, I do agree he's not the right fit to replace her because she is someone who, yes, she's producing things. She also is sitting in and doing a lot more business-oriented things, lots of stuff that's devoid of the creative aspect. That's where you got John and you got Dave. They're working on the creative aspect of things, and they can stay in those types of positions. But there's certain things here that you need to have someone who is producing these projects and someone that can, I think, be more suited to that business end of things. And
is that Feige? Do you put him in there and change that cap up?
Star Wars caps.
That's how you should do it, though, Disney. If you're listening, that he should at some convention take off a hat and imagine it's like the Downey thing where he puts on a hat and it's the fucking Star Wars logo. That pop would be huge. That would be. I'm telling you, Disney, steal that idea, do it. So,
I do think, I think that we just need to get some projects out that are just very, very simple stuff. And I think some of the projects next year, like Andor, feels incredibly simple, but it's I'm going to say it's very much a niche thing because in its simplicity, it's going into like imperial political stuff. Like espionage, all that spy stuff. It's got so many different things. Very simple, but it's like, hey, this is great. I know not everyone is super into like the political part of the Empire, but I eat that shit up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love it.
You eat shit for breakfast?
It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. And other shows didn't need to be super heavily reliant on the cameos, even though, again, I eat that stuff up. I like it, but not everyone does. People like the originality of Andor because and we'll talk more about the trailer later, but it's original. It's not relying on anything. It's just you see familiar things from the universe, and that's great. And then you have something like Boba Fett where we got the Rancor and we got all these other things in here and whatnot. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. There's some originality things tossed in there, and they're not really relying on things like Cad Bane and whatnot. So I can appreciate that. You got the Pikes. But in terms of just simplicity, I think we just need a point A to B Star Wars adventure, and I think Disney really pivoting to Disney Plus is, in retrospect, damaging for them. I think it'll be, by the time we get Mando, 7 years since we've had a movie on the big screen, which that's a failure, and that is Kathleen Kennedy's failure. You cannot dismiss that. Has she had a great early career? Absolutely. Like, as you said, there's like E.T. and there's Jurassic Park, tons of stuff with Spielberg. So she's got an amazing resume there, but not at this point, she doesn't have to worry about it. She's not going to be going to look for another job. She's going to be retiring. But at this point, this is definitely something that would not save you if you were looking for another job, because this is definitely a massive failure. And this doesn't earn money into shareholders' pockets. People are pissed. Yes, I know we've talked about most of those Star Wars films, all of them except Solo, they're billion-dollar movies. And that's fantastic. But those were once a year, once every 2 years, and now here we are 7 years empty, and that's profits Disney and shareholders could have been making, and they're not making that kind of money, so they're going to be upset about that, obviously. And the shows, yes, the shows are making money off of subscriptions and whatnot, but we've seen how many viewerships that these newer shows have, and they're not like breaking records, right?
I was gonna say, are they anymore though? Like, are people subscribing to Disney Plus for the new shows? If someone were to say they're subscribed for Star Wars, the brand, okay, I can understand that, but I don't even think it's that. I think it's just to have like, the backlog, and I like these movies, but like Acolyte. What was it? I think it was like it broken like for the streaming numbers. The first episode or two was in the top 10, and then it was just a big nosedive. Skeleton Crew, which I love, I think is one of the best Star Wars things they've done since they've started. That never even got to the top 10 of streaming the whole time it was on. So it's like I don't even know if you can make that case anymore. And Mando's going to the theaters, so it's not like Mando, like people are subscribing for Mando anymore. It's going to be on the big screen now because people have said like that's what's happening with Mando. It's the Moana 2 thing where it is pretty much was supposed to be the season, and they said just make it a movie, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you mentioned it where like if she retires and then Mando comes out, that's under her umbrella, so she's ending on a high note if it makes $1 billion. And you're totally right. And I would not put it past them to think, okay, that's what they're going to do, because I think Andor's going to be a hit. I really, really do. I think that's the last show as well on Disney Plus. We don't have any. We know there's an Ahsoka season 2, but we have nothing else on that. We just know
that hasn't even filmed yet.
Looking at it. Yeah, so that's way out to lunch. There's no other shows coming out after Andor for Disney Plus. Nothing slated. The only thing that we have slated is the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. That's it. That's kaput. So there's nothing else to really look down on. Like what do we got coming around the corner?
Mm-hmm. Which could make a lot of sense now with this timing of like there's not much on the horizon and we're about to shift gears, which might not be a bad thing, because remember the awkward moment when Gunn and Safran took over and they still had Blue Beetle, Aquaman, Shazam 2, and it was all these movies from a dead universe, and like they never said that, but it's like, well, these movies like really mean nothing in the grand, like even Flash to an extent, right? Like they meant nothing, where that I guess it's the only bad thing is because Armani asked us about the Revenge of the Sith coming back to theaters. I think it's just to like, if it does big money, I don't think it's going to do big money. I think it'll just do fine. I think it's just because it's the 20th anniversary, put it out there. But the Rey movie and everything, like all that in the new trilogy they announced, I think anything that it's classic Star Wars, right? But like legitimately this time, there's like a good reason that anything that's been out there announced, I think it's kind of like the Gunn thing of like, don't hold your breath. Like if it's not in production, like the Rey movie, don't know if that's gonna happen. That Mangled movie, because if it's just like Filoni or Favreau, they might come in and go, "Oh yeah, sure, let's just keep going," right? And that's why God Loves 69 asked, like, is there any sore thumbs or absolute no ways in the runner lineup? For me, it is Filoni. I'm not gonna fire him. I'm not saying get rid of him, keep him in his post, but I think the problem is he's very much like George, which is a funny thing because he created Star Wars, but like he sees Star Wars one way, and sometimes that doesn't create the best product to watch. And I think there's a lot of stuff, especially the past few years, of Acolyte. The rumors was like he took a chainsaw to that show. Like a writer said, like, oh yeah, he changed a bunch of stuff. She deactivated her account, and then a bunch of scoopers like, yeah, he fucked up. Like he did a lot with that show. Because the problem is, which is not a bad thing, there's certain things that aren't Star Wars or it's too dark. Like the way George would feel like, oh, that's like even stuff with the books that George went like, oh, I would never put that in my movie because like Mara Jade, that doesn't match Star Wars for X, Y, and Z, right? But I don't, George shouldn't have sold if that was the case, and Dave's not the owner. So for me, and like what that producer said in that Hollywood article that said he'd get killed from all sides, I absolutely agree with that. Because the stuff like Taylor said that Kathy's doing, I'm sure they've had Filoni doing it, but Kathy's been doing it for 40 years plus. You can't just learn. And Filoni's taken his real post, like, I'd say like Mandalorian time. So same thing, Rise Skywalker, 6-ish years. So tons of more experience than other people have. But for me, it cannot be him. And that's why, like, if it is him or John, I think I have my preference of, like, I'd rather Favreau, but I don't think he's like Gunn. I don't think he just wants... James Gunn wants to make comic book movies the rest of his life. I don't think Favreau wants to make Star Wars movies the rest of his life, but I don't know that. Maybe he does. Maybe he's like, fuck yeah, it's the best gig ever. But if it's those two, I think things are relatively the same, and to me, that's not a good thing. They're like, if Feige gets in there, I think there's a big change. I don't know if that's a good thing, but, like, if Feige gets in there... I don't think anything's safe. Like the Rey movie, the trilogy, like I don't like. Is Feige gonna want Ahsoka season 2? Like I don't know. And that's to see Feige and Filoni like that interview. I'm not saying they would like hate each other. I'm just like it's so interesting because that would be like the dad and stepdad situation where Star Wars is the kid and Filoni was the dad, but now Feige's married the former wife. It's like no, this is my son now too, and it's like because. That's the thing, that if Feige's expressing interest in it, that means he's getting out of MCU. I think once Secret Wars and X-Men is done, like he's gonna do X-Men, do a home run. Oh, he started on X-Men 2000. He finished on MCU. What more is there for him to do? So it's like if he's expressing interest, and if I'm eyeing everything, sure, the MCU's been like iffy right now, but it's like how do you not try it out? But I also wonder because my last point on the God Love Me 69 comment is the article mentioned that Kathy's like recommending Filoni be the person. I could see a scenario that Filoni is like the interim guy and it goes really bad and they just like almost use it as a scapegoat to get rid of him. Because Feige, I don't think he's going to become the Star Wars president during Secret Wars and it's not King Dynasty, Doomsday and all that stuff. Like he still has a couple more years, so I could almost see them like, oh yeah, sure, let's have Dave like. I feel like they might Chapek Dave Filoni and give it to him, and when everything goes wrong, like, yeah, see, he was never the right guy. Let's give it to, and then imagine that, because Feige could be coming off $1 billion Doomsday, $1 billion Secret Wars.
So they bring Kennedy back, just like they brought Iger back.
Maybe, but like that's for me with Filoni is like a lot of things I think he's there creatively, but he should not be the guy, you know. So.
In my last closing thing here, I just want to share a couple of these crazy Kennedy thumbnails because these always just crack me up.
Kennedy betrayed.
And these are real YouTube thumbnails, everybody. So there's that one. Then we got this one that's made me laugh.
Fuck this. That's what she said. She wants to leave.
And then this is my personal favorite of the night.
Oh my God.
This will change nothing. You'll miss me when I'm gone, right? Well, okay, that's all bad, right? But the headline, this will change nothing. If it is just Dave and John, it does really, to me, change nothing other than, like, they have less experience than her. So, like, I think it would be worth, like, I think if you asked me to pick Kathy, John, or Filoni, I'd say get Kathy back for more years because then that's just more of the same with less experience. I know people say, oh, Favreau is MCU. I just don't see Favreau doing it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's why he's directed Mandalorian and Grogu, so he can be, like, the fucking guy, right? That's his Superman. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. There you go, Dylan. How do you feel?
Lots of shit.
You know, this is perfect. I am the pupil. You guys are my teachers because I've been so checked out of Star Wars the last few years that like this is all really useful context, and I'm sure the audience. I feel like the audience right now, which is perfect, kind of exactly what I need here. I'm trying to think. So Filoni, what was his involvement in Mandalorian season 1 again? Season 1 and 2.
Writer, and then is he showrunner or is Favreau showrunner?
I think it's Favreau.
Favreau.
Okay, so I think he's like a head writer.
So he's got his fingers in there a little bit.
Yeah, it was like a
just
duo
because
of those two.
In terms of looking at him as being the successor here, I just have no context because I haven't really engaged with any of the Filoni era Star Wars stuff, and it sounds like there's definitely some pros and cons to it. But yeah, the timing of it does seem kind of strange, but maybe that's, intentional too. But I think what you were saying there, Travis, of how there's like issues with these other like Disney CEOs, there was a writer's strike. We're still like COVID obviously put a huge dent on a lot of things. And so maybe like the time just never really felt quite right. And they just felt like, okay, things are so chaotic right now. We just got to keep this level of consistency, keep her in this role until like things smooth out a bit. But at some point you just got to make the tough decision, the sunk cost fallacy of it, and just chop it off and go with something new. Now, what you're saying, if they just promote some other guy who's kind of been in that same boat, then I don't know if we're going to change much. But at the same time, it's like, wow, getting thrown in here it seems so impossible for anyone else, right? Who doesn't have all the context. And maybe what you guys are saying of like how right now that doesn't seem like there's a ton of things that are actually in a meaningful state of production. So maybe this is a good time to do it when things are kind of low. But it also means all those things that were talked about and announced in our official quote unquotes are kind of just fantasies at this point too, which I can see why that's disappointing. But yeah, I mean, I think at some point you just got to make the tough decision. It's going to be an uphill battle either way, and it feels like this is not working. And I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of people in my same boat where it's like I just want to go to the theaters and watch a Star Wars movie. I'm not interested in these shows.
Yeah.
And so they just got to give me something. They're just unable to do that. We're finally going to get it next year with Mando. But yeah, that's taking a freaking long time when that's probably like your more profitable stuff, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Disney Plus is probably capped out for the most part of where it's going to be. And now the growth is probably very slow. So at the same time, you just got to feed the beast with new shows to keep people subscribed. But at the same time, the movies are where you want to be. That's the golden goose right there.
Yeah, like I think the only way Disney Plus grows is like if they somehow get like a Game of Thrones level hit show in their hands, where it becomes like the must see show. But I just don't see that how would they operate. And
Yeah, or if they acquire like
Yes.
I don't know, the Paramounts of the world or other random stuff like that.
Yeah, Taylor, Transformers series, very excited, right?
Transformers series?
It was
I
a
missed
joke.
this.
They got
Oh,
Paramount. Don't worry about it.
This guy.
I agree with you, the hard decisions, because like I'm saying he had more hard decisions, but can you imagine James Gunn when he becomes president and then Black Adam comes out and Henry Cavill in the post credit, and then a week later Henry Cavill announces that he's back as Superman? That's why that man's hair is white. How hard that must have been to sit, and because the rumor is like Cavill was not happy with anybody, but particularly that he did get sat down, like we're not doing that. He put out a nice post, but it's like, imagine that, like he announces that, and then 3 weeks later they get him into a room like, we need you to announce you're not Superman anymore. Like,
Was that face to face, or do you think Gunn just did a
it
phone
was face to
call?
face. The rumor was nope. The rumor was it was face to face, and the rumor was it didn't go well.
It was just
I'm not
the
saying he
fallout
like fucked him
bathroom
up.
scene.
Or
Bulletproof
anything.
glass in between them.
He's just throwing people outside windows. Like, I'm not saying no. I don't think anything was unprofessional. I just think like Henry had
It was
every right to be
Cavalry
pissed.
mode and just
Yeah, like he
Throws
had every
up his
right to be
fist.
pissed, but James Gunn had every right to be like, "Hey, we're gonna just start over." And Dylan, I was gonna ask you, not from you, like Dilmus, the guy who's like iffy on stores, because I feel like he's like, "Yeah, do this. I could be into it." As
I
like
just want to play Star Wars Outlaws. That's all I want to
Of
do.
course, make
Yeah.
the sequel. If they were to sit you down, because like the benefit Gunn had though, right? And even if Feige leaves and someone takes over, Brad Windebaum or somebody, if they say, "Hey, this isn't working, we can start over." With Star Wars, you don't really have that. If someone were to sit you down and say, "Hey, we got this new person that we think could be a good fit, but they want to reboot everything," do you think that's a plausible thing for Star Wars to ever do, just to start anew? Or do you think it's like there's too much history and legacy there for like the grand scope of people to accept that, we're literally starting over, we're gonna do like a New Hope again? They'll retitle some things, but I was just wondering from your perspective.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't think so. I think at most what you'd maybe ever get someday is like a remake, but that's not necessarily in the purpose of being a reboot. It's just like a way to modernize it, like modern tech and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't see them ever doing that. I feel like there's just enough pockets, and we kind of meme about how they just stay in this dark era, and that's where all this stuff gets like released. That's where everything's happening. But there is still a future untold that potentially is very interesting. You could even, if you want, just kick that 50 years down the line instead of like 4 or 5, whatever. So you can like separate it more, but it can still be in the same world. And then once again, now you have all that pocket of time in the middle. You can fill in with stuff later if you want. And then obviously you guys always talk about the Old Republic and that era and how there's a lot more to be mined there as well. So I don't know. I think there's still so much they could do on top of like Solo. It's not what we wanted necessarily, but it's like if they want to go back to that old stuff, that there's still places they can, I don't know, find holes, find gaps to fill. So I don't think we'd ever see that. I'll say that. I'll boldly say that. Maybe you'll get a remake. That's the most.
I was gonna say I don't know if we'll ever see it. I bet it will happen, but I bet we could be. They'll like wait till that generation is dead. Like anybody that could have grown up with it and would feel sacred for it. I think
Until they have
that's when-
spaceships that can move like that and they can
Yes.
film it in real life.
Once Tom Cruise has done his movie in space, like, well, he did it. We can do it all and everything like that. And that's the one good thing. It's halfway, because Taylor, I know again you defend your boy Filoni, but Kathy's gone. And then Dave, if he goes, the rumor was that they don't like the Old Republic. So that's another thing of why I want Filoni out of here, because he's just, again, it's not Star Wars to him and George. It's just, it's too dark. It's just whatever it may be. And
Some of my favorite medias are just Old Republic stuff. I know I haven't played much of that Old Republic Star Wars game, that online game, but man, the cinematics they did was like this like army of Sith versus like the soldiers, like those cinematics.
I'd watch those on YouTube, and then I remember when I found that out, I'm like, how did I not know about this game? And then I like downloaded it, found out it was an MMO. I'm like, oh.
That's
I mean, the game,
Yeah.
the game has its fan base community. That's fine, but those cinematics are just like 15 minutes of some of the best Star Wars Old Republic cinematics you'll see. It is fucking phenomenal, and that's what we should get for
You're
movies.
not gonna get that. You ain't gonna get that.
And that's true. Like
Your boy.
To answer your
Filoni's
question,
watching it, just pissed
That's
off.
your boy?
Like, get this
Oh,
shit
yeah.
out of here. We're
That's
never
your
doing
boy.
it.
A question that they asked earlier, I want to circle back to. Superman Mike said it would have been interesting to see if they released a movie after Rise of Skywalker, taking COVID out of the equation. And yeah, that's the thing. We've never had like that point of, okay, what would have happened? Because I don't know what they would have done, but obviously COVID happened. And like we said, there's a lot of things even with MCU. COVID and strike happened, so delays by multiple years. But yeah, it just, I think just Mando was a hit, and then COVID happened, and the entire Hollywood world decided that streaming is now the future. And then once COVID was over, they realized how much money they don't make from streaming, and now they've tried to go back to theaters. But as we see, it's like tons of people are just happy to stay at home because like The Gorge comes out on Apple, or like Netflix has fucking Electric State in a couple weeks. It's like you don't have to, or these movies come out in a few, like Companion, like, and I can't see it right now because there's many people like myself that like, you know, have kids, jobs, life, busy, can't see it. But like Companion was out 15 days later. And I was very excited to watch, but it's like that's brutal. And that's like the same thing like myself. I know that it's gonna be here, so I can just buy it on VOD and watch it there. But yeah, that would have been interesting. Let's see. Espo says Secret Wars hitting 15 million opening weekend, like Taylor predicted for Cat. Feige resigns the next day. Yeah, that would be.
That'd be rough.
Yeah, that would be a bad time. But I think I does anyone here not think Doomsday and Secret Wars are at least $1 billion movies? Like,
Deadpool was billion last year.
Yes.
We're good. Marvel's
Yeah.
fine.
I think those are like easy check marks for them. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Some people say we might hear some at Celebration. I don't know. I guess maybe she could announce something. I guess it's in Japan, so I'd hope they're nicer. I just would hate for her to announce something and people to like cheer that, because like
I don't think she would announce it at that.
I hope not, because I just don't want, because she, like, for whatever happens, does not deserve that. Or like a crowd's like, I'm leaving, like, yeah, like it's just like, it's like, man, she put in a lot of work, and like didn't, like, not everything went right, but it's like, yeah, maybe it's time for a new captain. But yeah, this will be an evolving story we talk about for the next year, and who knows, maybe there's somebody we don't even know out there, and that's someone I wouldn't even mind either. If it's not Feige or somebody, like, find the Feige
Hire
before.
GeekVerse.
Yeah,
We're available. We're sellouts.
you'd have to have us all, because yeah, I wouldn't trust any single one of them. I'm definitely not trusting Taylor. He's too.
I would just
Feige-
greenlight
there's too
Star Wars
Feige,
Outlaws
like,
2.
5
and
Clone
nothing
Wars
else.
movies. Fuck, live
Oh
action.
God, yeah, no,
Oh,
you don't want to do
gosh.
that.
What would you
so-
greenlight, Kirkland? You get to greenlight one
Old Republic,
project.
definitely Old Republic.
Okay.
I feel like the money's at the Revan storyline. Like let's just do this.
Over
Old
Bane?
Republic.
Revan or Bane? You can pick one.
You can do both. They're kind of connected,
They
right?
kind of cross over.
Iger's like one. Pick one,
Fuck.
Kirkland.
Yeah,
Gotta do
you're right.
Revan.
You're
The
right.
double
Taylor.
lightsaber
It would
stuff.
have to be the Darth Bane series, and
Oh, yeah,
I'm so
no.
biased on that because I've actually gone through those novels.
Wrong answer. See, you can't do it because you need the hero's journey. And I know as much as you want the novel, you could not, like, if they were Pats or walks up on stage like we're doing Darth Bane, like the crowd would go wild. But like it's so the new movies about following the bad guy. Like I think you
Fuck
need.
yeah.
You can tie that in, like Revan with the double lightsabers. That's a fucking cover right there, like coming back, and that's all you do for a bit. That's what I'd say is you announce the Knights of the Old Republic. We're gonna do one movie. You do maybe you can do some animated stuff, but you don't do anything. No other movies. No Dark Times. No prequel. No Rey stuff. You just build out this universe. Because imagine that. Imagine if you make a franchise that's like thousands of years before and it's a hit, and then you never have to rely on. Well, we got to get a Luke deepfake back, and who's gonna play Han Solo now? Like if you can just take, like, that's why I fucking love Skeleton Crew. That's what they did. They took Star Wars and made their own thing. They had little Easter eggs, but not like, hey, this is Luke's cousin and oh, this is Leia's blaster. Like, no, it's like, oh, you know that planet, you know this, and they didn't even go to shit like Tatooine. Like, Skeleton Crew is the fucking blueprint, but not with kids. That's why I'd say not with kids, because that's not a massive franchise. You know, you just can't do it.
Yeah.
So.
Quick question.
Well, Travis,
for you,
my Revan
Oh,
storyline is a bad guy, anyways. So it's
Yeah,
the same
but
thing.
so you don't do the story where he loses his memory.
You
and
would have
everything
to.
like that? You have
If you're
to,
making
right?
the movie, you would have to. But I'm
You
just
have to.
being
And imagine
facetious.
that's your Empire Strikes Back twist. I years ago in high school wrote a 3 treatment. I always that's a trilogy movie. That first game, you end the second movie with the reveal of the Revan story, and that's your Darth Vader.
Okay,
moment.
hire us.
Yeah.
We're ready.
Yes.
We're ready, guys.
Yeah, we're ready. We did Adrenochrome. We're ready to take on Star Wars. Yeah, Taylor, so one question before
Sorry,
we go to our
Yeah,
first actor.
no, all good. Skeleton
Just
Crew
one.
question. Is the name of the planet, is it Adahalan, Atlanta, or Adadan?
That's that.
Oh, yeah.
Can't say I remember no. Great robot in that movie or that show. So yeah,
say I
Dylan, that's
remember.
another one along with Andor. Put Skeleton Crew on the list. It's good. Don't need to know anything about stars. You could watch
I
that.
haven't even watched Spider-Man yet. You think I'm watching Skeleton Crew?
No,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just saying. I'm just saying. You hit the jackpot and whatever. Oh,
Don't
let's
get
take
your
a
hopes
ad-
up.
Don't get the hopes up. Let's take a ad break and then we'll quickly hit on Andor and then we'll be right back. And we're back. So Andor, we thought that was going to be the biggest Star Wars news this week. They dropped a trailer and they also revealed that the 12 episodes are going to release in 3-episode batches. So we went from a 12-week release schedule
That's a bad batch if I've ever heard one.
to a 4-week release schedule. I will say the trailer, awful trailer. I like what I saw. That music is disgusting. They did this with Skeleton Crew. I think they feel there's some crackpot team where they're in their little looking at their stats and they saw Acolyte and they're like, I think we need trailers with like real music in it. No, not at all. To me, the whole trailer it's like scene and then quote from critics saying the best Star Wars ever, prestige television. That music made it feel like it was not prestige television. It made it feel like it was a fucking straight to DVD thing. The stuff in it looked great, but that music was awful. I'm excited.
Was it like
for
the end of
Andor.
Venom? Like what kind of soundtrack are we talking here? What's
No,
wrong?
it wasn't as bad as that, but it's just like
Memories.
it's just like rock and roll music with like lyrics. It's like modern day
Okay.
music. And to me, Star Wars, that's a no. Acolyte did it, Skeleton Crew did it, and Andor. And guess what? Look at those ratings for Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. Didn't fucking work out there. So I'm very excited. I'm kind of bummed by it. I think everybody is, or a lot of people are excited by the release schedule. I guess for me, it's probably more just podcast related. Of one went from 12 weeks of content to 4, and then also just like from a business standpoint, the first show was already the lowest Star Wars show before Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. So now it's only out for 4 weeks. Like I feel like this is easily people could miss it and then just forget about it. So I don't know if it's like they're like putting it out to pasture. I don't think so, because the idea is these 3 episodes, each of them tell an arc, right? But they did that last time, but they did it weekly. So I don't know. I am very excited to have the best Star Wars back in the Disney era, so it's going to be a good time. I think those reviews will be juicy. Not looking forward to Tuesdays where I got to watch like 3 15-minute episodes back to back and then jump on for the review. That's going to be fun to dangle with the kids and the twins. But yeah, trailer looked fine, but the music choice, someone should be let go for that. Maybe that was it actually. Kathy's like, I have the song, put on the trailer, and Iger saw, he's like, you're out. You know, that's the last straw. I saw the Andor trailer, you're out by 2025. She's like, okay, I'll leave. But Kirkland?
So extreme. You're so extreme. It's funny.
Disgusting.
I watched this trailer first on my phone at work with no volume, and I'm like, the
Kirkland way.
looks so good. Yeah, that always good. It's like the prequel trailer viewing. It's always no volume on the phone. I got a new phone now, so it's a nice big screen, so it's a lot nicer to watch things.
Oh, the speakers though.
Not well. Come on, I'm trying to.
You don't
trying
know.
to pretend I'm working, you know. But anyways, so yeah, I thought it was an amazing looking trailer. Andor, to this day, I don't have a list, but I feel like it's my favorite Disney Plus content. Like
I think it is.
It's up
I
there.
think there's something on Patreon a couple years ago we recorded. So there you go.
Yes, absolutely. So there you go.
Find it.
Thank you for reminding everyone. So yeah, I watched it there, and then I rewatched it on the iPad, bigger screen, but with audio this time. And again, I love the trailer. Music definitely took me out of it. So I hear where you're coming from, Travis. I feel like initially I was liking the intensity of the music, but then I thought back to Andor season 1, and I'm like, that's actually like a very like melancholy like dour show, and this music is nothing of those vibes at all.
This is high tempo, fast and furious music.
Yeah,
which is
and
odd.
even what they were showing was like pretty much like it was on par with the music in a way. Like it seems like it's more, I don't want to say uplifting, but just more less depressing, I guess. Like there's dancing, and you got our main Andor man looking all handsome and suave, giving a smirk little smile like a scoundrel. Like there's just a different vibe that I'm getting from this season versus season 1. But that being said, I don't even remember season 1 trailer, so I don't know if that felt very much like this or if it was a lot more of a dour feel. But yeah, it just definitely a different tone than I would have been expecting going into the season. I still am so excited though for the show. Like Andor season 1 is just, it's so juicy for me.
Yeah.
I love that show so much. And
To be clear, I have no wavering on the show. I think this was
Yeah.
just some execs or some marketing team trying to make it look like super sexy, and it's like didn't work here. So
yeah, like for how they did the trailer too, in a positive way, I feel like it doesn't feel like a Star Wars like. I don't know. It's hard to say because like it does. It's obviously Star Wars. There's stormtroopers.
you're
like,
out of the
there's
GV
blasters and everything.
takeover. You're out. It's just me, Dylan and Taylor now.
But
doesn't feel
it
like
just,
Star
it
Wars.
doesn't
It's
feel
good.
like other Star Wars trailers that I've seen. And Andor is a type of show that isn't like other Star Wars shows because it's really engaging and like intense, and it doesn't feel like, I don't know, like a Saturday morning cartoon sort of like and. There's not necessarily something wrong with that, but it's nice to have a different feel of a show. Like how we got Skeleton Crew, which feels different from other Star Wars content, but very much for a specific audience. I feel like Andor is that, and just a lot more in my type of category of shows that I really, really like. And Star Wars pairing is perfect. And everything that they introduced in that first season, I absolutely love. All the shots I saw in this, although it is a different tone, I'm still excited for it. I'm still really, really looking forward to that. April 22nd, I think, is the release date. And
Yes,
in
for the
terms to
first
the
three.
release window, it being in 4 chunks, I mean, I loved it for the last few shows that have done it. Spider-Man would have been the most recent one, just because I love the show so much. So I'm expecting to love the show so much. So to be able to just binge them in that sense. Sometimes, sometimes I get off work a little bit later, so it's going
I
to be
know, I'm
interesting
worried.
just timing those 3-hour viewings. But
Midnight reviews. Here we come.
we'll get
We're
her done.
back.
We'll get her done one way or the other. Yeah.
Taylor, I don't think
Discuss.
Dylan watched the trailer, right? Don't need to watch it. No, so Taylor, the
I
floor is
passed.
yours.
Yeah, the music has grown on me after rewatching it again and again and again. I'll say it's not the best music for the trailer, and I was curious. The first trailer for season 1 of Andor, definitely a complete different tone, and I think something a little bit more slow and ambient would have worked a little bit more for this trailer. But that being said, again, watching it repeatedly, like once, then a couple hours later watch it again, then again later on, I was like, okay, yeah, it's kind of warming up a bit, but it is not perfect. The trailer itself, the visuals, oh man, like Rogue One is top 3 for Star Wars movies for me. Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, and Empire, it circulates in that top 3 list. Some days I'm feeling this one, some days I'm feeling that one, and it's just the fact that we're getting this story now getting closer and closer to Rogue One. And there's certain events in here too that I had no idea about, like the Gorman massacre. I think it's called Gorman Massacre, where this peaceful protest happens. The Empire just guns all these protesters down. That's supposed to be in here too. Other little things, other events that happen as well. So there's lots of stuff going on that I'm thinking, holy shit, this is going to be really cool. And I'm excited to see how we've developed from that first season. And again, I was not expecting Saw Gerrera. Man, they just bring this fucker back. Just keep using him. I mean, I'm kind of done with him.
They're gonna make a movie of him soon. That's gonna be Filoni's first
Probably.
movie.
Can
you feel it, Taylor?
You think he's only popping up in live action? No, he's popping up in animated just as much as he is in live action. And he did some things in Bad Batch that really pissed me off, so I'm not a fan of his character. He made some very evil decisions, and it killed some people off, and so I didn't like that.
Whoa.
And so which it fits with his character absolutely, because of just him being he's very radical. So to see what he's up to here, I'm intrigued, but I'm mostly intrigued to see what Mon Mothma's up to, see what Luthen's up to. And the big thing as well is I can't wait to get back into the Imperial political side of here with Director Krennic back, and then Project Stardust, and then especially I'm hoping, I would love it because Ian he's popping off as Palpatine in the animated shows still, and if we just get another scene of them holding like a Senate hearing and he just pops up, oh my god,
Pizza
I would
bet?
love that.
There's no fucking way Tony Gilroy's putting Palpatine in his Star Wars show. It's not.
And I'm inclined to believe you, but I just want to be optimistic and hope for it. But I'm not going to pizza bet you because in my heart, I know it's not going to happen. But in my mind, I just want it to happen because that'd just be so sick. I remember in the Bad Batch when he just came out of nowhere and you weren't expecting it. And you get this quick 5-minute scene of him talking all politically and evilly. It's like, holy fuck, this is just incredible. So if we get that here, where Mon Mothma is trying to like plead to the Senate, like, oh, Palpatine did this shit and ordered this execution of this peaceful protest, this horrible massacre, and then he just like you hear the bell ring and he comes up in his center platform and he just starts talking. Oh my god. Oh, sign me up.
Sounds like you're signed up.
Cyril was in the trailer too. Good old Cyril. Remember him?
Cyril.
Oh yeah, he has that hard on for the lady.
Oh,
For
officer.
Daedra,
I can't fucking wait
3
for that
episodes of him
storyline.
eating milk and
I
cereal.
hope so. I fucking hope so. They should just remake
like
the Nicole
Luke.
Kidman movie. Yeah.
He became like a Commander Drogue for me. I hated that character initially, and then
Emperor.
he just. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's a
an
commander
emperor.
now in my.
No.
demoting
Drogo's
him.
always a commander, but
I guess we got K2SO as well. Alan Tudyk popping in as the droid.
we do.
Cool.
I'm excited for Andor. Let's see. Yeah, do you guys ever watch Invincible? Yeah, Kirkland, you watch Invincible, right?
Yeah.
Season 1,
I've
big
seen it.
fan.
Big
I
fan.
I
of
saw
season
2 or
one.
3 episodes.
Yeah, I still watch. I haven't caught up to the last episode, but I'm liking this season more than last season. Very good show so far. Animation's still a little meh, like people say, but I'm enjoying it. So, so let's get into some. We're talking about, one CEO person to another. The DCU slate. So on Monday, I don't know why they did this, but I think they're just like, we got to start talking because people are getting antsy. Like myself, because we did a newscast. Me and Taylor did Weekly Geek. So it's funny that we did talking about like some issues we had with the DCU stuff going on. And then Monday they did this press event where they announced a few things, but it was more of what's going on, which, you know what? And I will say this actually, is it quelled or quirled a lot of my concerns?
Professor Quirrell, I think.
Not
is the one
Professor
you're looking
Quirrell.
at?
No, he's
Oh.
a
Quarrel? Query?
This
A
calms.
lover's
I'm just gonna
quarrel?
say this calms some of my concerns because I respect that pretty much what they went out and they said that they got a 6-year plan from Superman to now. There's a lot of things that I'm going to go some points, and if people have nothing to say, we'll move on. But they have very much stressed that when we hear about movies, because there's movies that they talked about this press event where they're like, oh, and the Teen Titans, and even Safran was like, yeah, Anna Nawaga's writing that, and James like, well, we've never announced that. And he's like, no, I'm pretty sure we have. And James like, nope, that's just scoopers that got that. We've never publicly said. So he let like a writer go accidentally. But I
Yikes.
appreciate that they said that. That stuff that like we talk about all the time, like, oh, they're doing this movie, that anything we hear from DC in the future, it's like in development. It doesn't mean it's a sure thing. James Gunn is sticking to like, we're gonna have a plan and write a script, and if the script is great, we're going to go through with it. That's why Clayface and Sergeant Rock, which weren't on the original slate, are going through, where like he was honest and said like, oh, stuff like Authority, we've made a bunch of changes and it just doesn't work, so we don't want to rush it. What was it? Booster Gold? Because he said there's been a bunch of bumpy projects, but he said Booster Gold, we had a showrunner and they just dropped out and said we didn't want to do it. So that's where that went. He said the Waller show we're making, lots of script issues. What else was there? Oh, there's another one of those, but I really appreciated that they were very candid and honest about this. So a lot of the worries I had have a lot of fires been put in the water. But the one thing I will say, so I'm going to go point by point here. Those were some of the things that they were talking about, these projects that are like, yeah, this is why they don't want to stick to, hey, we've announced this and we have to do it because we put it out there. I think I do like that because we've talked about like MCU's finally doing that with like War Machines, where they're like, yeah, you know what, this isn't a good idea. Let's not do this. Where before, maybe they would have been like, we have to do this. But this is where I still have some worries. They said that they plan on having 7 projects a year. Originally, it was 2 movies, 2 shows. But now they're going with 2 live-action movies, 1 animated movie, 2 live-action series, and then I think it's like a live-action an animated show. Either way, 7 projects, right? Very messy. I was talking about this with Mike in the Discord. If they... James guy, the fall of the DCU, red eye thumbnail. I don't know what yet, but if it's all in the DCU, they Gunn and company and Safran should know better. Like, look at MCU. There's already too many projects. But yeah, Kirkland, how do you feel about that? 7 projects a year. I'll say this again because I know it's word vomit, but 2 live action movies, 1 animated movie, 2 live action series, an animated series, and then I don't know. There's something else. That's 7. I've fucked it up again.
There's got to be at
Yeah.
least 2 animated series.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yes, because those are a bit cheaper to make. But 7 projects a year is their plan, and they did say that they do plan in 6 years to culminate in like an Avengers type of movie. My last point too, I guess, before I throw to you, is that he said they very much want to try to not make it the homework issue. So it sounds like they want to be like MCU Phase 1, where yeah, you had Cap, Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk, but like they weren't super connected, right? Little connections.
Yeah.
Sounds like they want the DCU to be that going forward. So it's like, oh, why is Clayface happening right now? Just because they think it's a good idea and they want to make it. They don't want a bunch of, you got to watch this to do this. So I know it's a lot there, but.
Yeah, I mean, 7 projects a year just for DCU. I feel like that's a lot. And, you know, as a podcaster, someone that talks about these things, that's awesome. More coverage, more discussions. I like it. It just seems like such a high number though, to like just out of the gate, like just that's our goal and that's what we're gonna be sticking to. I feel like over 2 years that like makes a lot more sense, but yeah, I guess they're just upping the ante, and it's I don't know how it's gonna feel natural and like. Even for a DC fan, I feel like it's gonna be tough to like follow all of that, like 7 projects a year, and especially if it is an animated show and then like a live action. Like it seems like it's gonna be covering like a wide range, even though it is all under the DC banner. So to get that, although they don't want to make it like homework, it kind of is. You know, like if you really want to get all of the lead up, like you're gonna be doing that. So if, like you said, a couple of years down the road, like it's all going to be aligning to this, it's just hard for me to really see it looking natural and clean, and without things being canceled and issues, because even just getting a project out has issues, right? Like it's like many things. We just talked about the whole Disney thing, or sorry, not Disney. Well, yeah, I guess Lucasfilm thing, and Star Wars, and how many things were promised and many things were not seen by us or by anyone. So. Yeah, no, that's just my initial thoughts, and but as a glutton for content, like fuck yeah, 7 projects, let's go.
And I do think it's smart for them to clarify that they said like, unless we announce it's in production, don't take it as like, to kind of like we talked about with Star Wars, they'd always say like, hey, we're doing a Rey movie, and what would always bug me is they would announce it and they're still meeting. They don't even have the script done. And it's like,
Daisy Ridley's out on stage, like, this is fucking happening. Let's go.
That's what bugs me. Where I like that they even said with Flanagan that he pitched them on Clayface. They said no. He wrote a script. I'm assuming he wrote a script during the strike. I'm not going to say he did, but it's just like they're like, oh, and he turned it into a script. So I just feel like he had some downtime. Put it, and they're like, this is a great script, we're gonna do it. And then they announced, hey, this is actually going into production in the fall, like it's happening. Where all these other, like, we talk on these rumors and stuff, but again, that's not stuff they, like me and Taylor talked about last week, that Daniel Craig dropped it as Sergeant Rock. Like he said, they've never officially ever, there's nothing Gunn, Safran, and DC related them saying, hey, Sergeant Rock is coming. It's just stuff that, because it's the way the world works now, right? That all these scoopers, they get charts and they get casting, so it's like stuff that you don't even want out there. Where Star Wars, that's what bugs me. It's like, don't officially announce the Rey movie till it's like, we're good to go, we're locked and loaded, which they've done with many, right? So,
yeah, I mean, I have I don't have my own hashtag like Travis told you, but I feel like I'm gonna do the Dylan told you here, because I feel like since this thing was announced, I was like, this is far too, bold and brave, to use the Batman naming scheme, to come out here at the gate without anything in production at all and announce all these things. And there's going to be connectivity between the animated shows, and they're going to do the voice actors, and they're going to come into live action. It's going to be seamless and perfect, and all these things are going to happen. I was like, no chance. Like, that's just not, it's not going to be as easy as they envision it, which clearly has been the case if they can't get, writers to stay in the room long enough to write some of these things. And I think now, especially like upping the ante to 7 just seems like even crazier. So I don't know. I like, we still haven't even gotten Superman yet, like, I guess it's kicked off now with Creature Commandos, but, and then, all of this is built on the foundation of like WB's incredibly shaky foundation, which at any moment could just slip out from under them and cancel all this stuff anyway, which feels like 6-year plan, really? I guess it's good to think about the future, but at the same time, you think that's going to last that long? We'll have to wait and see. And it's like kind of outside their control to some extent too, unless their movies are all just huge $1 billion movies and all these shows make a shit ton of money, but I don't even know how shows make money, really. I don't understand the economics of all that. It's hard to follow sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. This is not really surprising to me. I guess I've always liked the transparency, but at the same time, I think it could lead to some bad blood with people who are really excited about these things. The world's #1 Booster Gold fan. Holy shit, I'm finally getting a movie. I can't believe they announced that. And then it just gets pulled out for really that's not really a good reason. Like, the writer kind of just decided to give up on it. Like, that sounds like you were not putting much effort into that project if it was that easy for it to fall apart. I'm sure there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, of course. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't buy it. I don't think it's going to go off as smoothly as they expect.
Yeah, I appreciate them being honest, but they also don't need to say 7 projects, right? Because if things don't make it, then I'm sure they won't hit that all the time, right? But I guess maybe just put out what you're going to put out. But I don't know. Maybe it's just higher ups as well too, saying we need you to have a quota of this, this, and this.
And yeah, the no homework thing, to Kirkland's point, so we're getting 7 things a year for 5 to 6 years before we get. So we're going to be about 30 to 40 projects in between these team up things. Holy hell!
I think their plan is though. I think their plan, what they are going to try and do, which I wish the MCU would do, is something like Clayface. You won't have to watch at all. Period. They're just we want to make a monster movie for $40 million, and that's a cheap movie we can put out during Halloween. Boom, done. I think they do plan to have many of those where it is 6 to 7, but it's how right now, I guess MCU kind of did, but with Moon Knight, right? You don't have to, but at the time we're well, where is Moon Knight playing everything? I think they don't want to make it. I think Justice League will probably just be your Avengers, where hey, watch these. You could watch these 4, but you don't have to watch Guardians, right? To watch Avengers 2. They have nothing to do, but I think that's what they're trying to do overall. Espop says that means we're going to get 15 DCU projects in time between Batman Reeves movies, which, again, Gunn, they did. I appreciate the clarification after the delay and everything. Obviously, they could just be lying and just bullshitting us, but they said hey, that's not our plan to make him the Batman. We're doing our own thing. And I've said before, as long as I get the Batman, I don't really give a fuck what they do with the DCU. They can do whatever they want. Just let Reeves finish his stuff, but they said they have no plans. I think what is interesting, before I throw to Taylor, is they said they're working on the script. And the first person to see the script will be Andy Muschietti, who is the director of Brave and the Bold, which to me makes very little sense that he's has very little connection with this project until they finish the script. I'm just saying he ain't directing this movie, and I think it'll be someone else. It could even be James Gunn, because James Gunn says he loves Batman and he's working on something, and yet there's even talks of no talks, but people just wondering if he's doing a Batman Superman movie, a team up. And he's not doing this, but I'm happy that Pattinson is not doing that. And they announced a Green Lantern animated show. They announced a Starfire animated show. Yeah, they confirmed that Teen Titans film. So there's some stuff they did confirm here. But Taylor, what do you take from all this?
Do you think James Gunn just is no one else can do this, so I'm going to direct it. I did Creature Commandos. I directed Superman. I'll direct Batman Brave and the Bold. I'll direct Supergirl. I'm just going to direct all of it.
I think with not he didn't do Supergirl. Supergirl's halfway through production.
No, I'm saying he'll just take over.
No, he said that script's going well. He said the production's going well. That's going to be ready for next year. I think the ones that he will be a part of, Creature Commandos was just whatever. He just did that because he just wanted to. That's a James Gunnism thing. I think anybody that is in that Justice League movie, that's where he could step in, where it is Superman, Batman. I don't know where the fuck Wonder Woman is. Obviously, we'll talk on Monday about the game, but even in general,
it's canceled.
You should probably be getting that thing going. Armani said the 6-year plan and no video games. James Gunn did say expect something in the next couple of years. I think Warner Brothers Games is just a mess right now, so I feel like James Gunn get the film thing under control and then worry about the game.
Well, he doesn't really have anything to do with that, right?
I don't know, because he doesn't. No, but I know he said that they're going to make games for the DCU, so I don't know what that partakes. But definitely just wait on that. Warner Brothers Games a fucking
release
disaster.
a new roadmap for Kill the Justice League game or anything.
Yeah, we're getting to 10 projects a year, everyone. Add some games in there. Good to go.
Yeah, but Taylor, continue.
I
think
to
answer your question, he'll do that with the important projects. I think if he feels it's not working out.
Yeah. I think his transparency and his bluntness to just address it. Hey, this is how it is with these projects. I think that's great. That's wonderful. I think other companies could look at that and learn a thing or two.
Mm-hmm.
Disney.
I would
also
love to know.
think-
I would love to just sit Feige down and be like, "Why was Mahershala announced in 2019, and here we are?" You know, like
and have James Gunn in the room with you when
He
you
just
ask him
breaks
this
down
question.
crying.
like honestly, that's not their biggest thing, but I would love to ask those particulars, but they don't, right? We're Gunn. That is something he is doing a bit differently. So
The plethora, though, of projects that are going to be coming out, I am just overwhelmed. I mean, I'm totally okay with, 2 a year. Sure, I'll be greedy, but 1 a year totally
greedy
works
now.
for me. Like, holy smokes, I don't need like on and on and on and on. Like a show and a movie, that's totally fine. But I mean, clearly they have some goals, and clearly they want to make up for lost time and pick
for
up.
sure.
Like, what happens if some of these projects bomb? I don't think Superman's going to bomb, but what happens if Superman doesn't do very well? And is that going to kind of rock the boat a little bit?
if Superman, if that bombs or disappoints, I think it's actually just over. I think it's just they go back. Like I think this is all. I think it is. I think they'll do like, I think Reeves will be fine, but I think they'll just go back to, we'll just do a project here and there. I don't think Superman's gonna bomb, but I think that's what happen. But like to answer your question, that's why you make Clayface for $40 million, right? Like that helps you.
Yeah,
instead
that's right.
of like,
That's right.
oh well, this is a $250 movie, $250 million, like Joker 2, right? Like that. Look what happened there. So if you make Clayface for $40 million, easy. Sergeant Rock, 40-60 million. Like I don't know if anyone wants a Sergeant Rock movie, but like Green Lanterns is a TV show on HBO Max, or HBO. Sorry, just HBO. So. Superman Mike says, if Superman 2 happens, does Gunn do it or pass it off? I think he definitely does it, but I do agree with the rumors because he says he's writing something. It's not announced. He just says it's connected to Superman. I do think he is, because that's the other thing too with the Batman. He said, well, you might see the Batman before Raven Bold. I guess you could have him in Clayface. There's a chance, but I think you will get a Batman Superman movie. And it's going to be called World's Finest, and that you'll have the team up first. And I'm going to laugh if it makes $1 billion, and because the whole thing about BVS not making $1 billion, I don't know if it would, but I think that's his next project. But my point is, I think Superman 2 is like after the 6-year plan, unless it's a massive movie.
What was the comment you said about Batman? You'd see it before.
He said there's
Brave
a
and the
chance
Bold?
you'll see him before Brave Bold. Because
What did he say that before or after Creature Commandos?
No, he said this on Monday.
Okay.
Just
okay.
now,
So I was
he
gonna
said,
say like
yeah.
Creature Commandos already proves his point.
Because he's in there, but I think people said because he said they're not gonna, which was also interesting. He said he's working with the writer on Brave the Bold. He said he would not reveal the writer because there'd be too much pressure on them. So I'm very curious who is writing Brave and the Bold.
James Gunn.
Maybe legitimately, or Peter Safran. He's like, I'm gonna write my first movie, and it's gonna be Batman. But no, I think some report asked him about Clayface, and he said like, there's a chance you'd see Batman before. I think it's just because they have no idea when Brave and the Bold is, and I think they just have. I think it's all Matt Reeves, because unfortunately he did say that Matt Reeves still hasn't turned the script yet for the Batman, and Matt's taking his time, he's cooking. But I think that's the problem. They have no idea when this Batman movie is, so it's like they got to get Batman in there at some point, right? And cast Glenn Powell. So,
Get me some points.
yeah, get you some points for sure. So, all right, let's take our last ad break, and then we'll be back with some Daredevils. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back. And quickly before we, should I do it now?
Do it.
I guess I can. Just quickly. Today or I guess a couple days ago, whenever, during the press for Daredevil, they announced that they are doing a special presentation for Punisher. They're bringing those back. We kind of thought those were dead, but they're doing that. It's going to be starring John Berthal. He's also co-writing it. They actually got a guy that, I can't remember his name. He directed King Richard. So a guy that's co-writing and directing it is an Oscar, film producing guy, so there's a lot of stuff behind here. No idea of runtime, but they did say it's going to come out next year. They said alongside Daredevil season 2, which Daredevil season 2 is confirmed for next year. I don't know if that means literally at the same time or before or after, but because we're talking about Daredevil, I thought we'd bring up some news here. But yeah, Punisher getting a special presentation. Dylan, as my former Netflix Marvel reviewer boy, obviously we reviewed the first 2, and now obviously not a show. I think we're not getting a show because I think Berthal's just I think he's too busy now to do that 13-9 episode thing. Even Daredevil, I think he's in there for a couple episodes, but I feel like this is just he's in a Nolan movie now, and he's doing all this. He's in The Accountant 2 coming up, which I almost drafted. But how do you feel about a special presentation for the Punisher?
Yeah, I really thought those were dead. I didn't think we were going to get any more special presentations, and I'm trying to think. I guess it was it 2023 Christmas when we got the Guardians one, or was it 2020? Must have been 2023, right?
I think it was 2022 maybe, because Guardians came out in May 2023. So I think it was 2022 when we got that. Right? That would make sense.
Wow.
So if you get it. Yeah, because Guardians came out in May.
God.
Those are big.
Time flies.
Is that what you're searching at, or are you looking at porn?
He's looking at it.
2022, same as Werewolf by Night.
Okay, that was
Right.
October.
Okay.
So we got that 1 year of specials, and they're like, we're done. We're not doing it
Yeah.
anymore.
But yeah, wow, it's been a long time since we've got one, or even heard. Like, we've heard a couple little pieces of chatter, but like nothing really meaningful, nothing from like the top tier scoopers. So this is pretty exciting.
Oh, and this
and I
is
think-
from the head of Marvel TV. It's not scoopers. It's like confirmed. It's like it's happening.
Very exciting. Yeah, no, that's really great. I think as you mentioned, like he's in a different spot in his career than he was back in those days when he was doing Ghost Recon and random stuff. Now this is a busy man.
Right.
Okay, he doesn't have time to
He
mess
walked
around.
on stage with his dog. Remember at E3?
all he's got time for is 50-minute or probably a 33-minute long special with credits in there. But I think it's cool that if it's going to time up with season 2 of Daredevil in some way, I'm really excited to see what that connection is. Hopefully he's in that first season, at least for some juicy bits, because we have some stuff to break down. It's not just like some meaningful cameo where he pops up for 1 second and says, "What the hell you doing, Red?" and then backs off, and then we never see him again. But I think that's cool, and I think maybe it shows that this character could be a bigger deal for this era of Marvel. We'll see. We've talked about like what would be a Marvel Knights thing. Is that something they would go Midnight Suns, like that kind of space? Is that something they would do? And maybe that's where he would pop in for like a movie or something if they're building up to something like that. And maybe Daredevil is truly the thing that's going to like kick off that potential thing. We'll see. So yeah, I think that's very exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure he's gonna crush it in there.
Yeah, just because obviously there's some credits in there. Always Marvel with their credits, but I think the holiday special was shorter, but Werewolf by Night was 53 minutes. If we can get that same runtime for this, because like Espaz was pointing out, if it's a special presentation, not just a movie, probably like an hour long, unless it's a straight to Disney Plus movie and they call a special presentation, I would love that. But I think the good thing with like Punisher's kind of the perfect character of like he's out in New York, there's a criminal gang he's gonna take down, and it's just like an actioner. Like I think you can have some emotional stuff, but I think save that for the shows and everything. I think this should be like Punisher with John Wick with Punisher, where it's he's on a not on a hit because obviously
Punisher versus Sidewinder, maybe that could be a good.
Of course,
face-off.
get Giancarlo in there. That'd be great. But I think this is fantastic. My wish, obviously, would be a season. But the same way I've always said this, like what I do like what James Gunn is doing with the Clayface thing. I would love they do this. It's a hit, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna make a 30 to 50 million Punisher movie and put that out, because always the MCU movies are always like 150 million plus. Like it'd be great if like, hey, we're gonna put out this Punisher movie in like October, November, like somewhere like small, even February. Again, I know February is not going good for Cap right now, but I hope this does well because I would need more. I don't know if I can for sure say this, but I don't feel bad saying John Bernthal I think is a top 5 like casting to me for a comic book character. Like he is just Frank Castle, so he's the perfect character to be special presentation. Plus it's like Werewolf by Night, where I think you can make it rated R and it's not as bad because like, well, it's only 53 minutes to an hour, or maybe they don't want to. I know they say Daredevil's TV MA, let's wait till we actually see it, but I don't know if they want to do that. And Punisher's a bit more of a controversial character, so it's just music to my ears. But I said this in the Discord, boys, because Taylor asked, like, oh, should we do this? Oh, you never know. Wait, can we expect a Punisher season 1 and season 2 retro in the next 12 to 16 months?
Do we have to watch Defenders to fill in the gaps between seasons?
Well, yeah.
Defenders
you
is
gotta-
short,
supplement
less
shows that
episodes,
you need.
only 8 episodes.
Yeah, you got to rewatch Daredevil with Defenders this time. No, he is not in Defenders, so you're in the clear there.
Okay.
So,
I'm
yeah.
tired, boss.
Get ready for Iron Fist.
I mean, I'm tempted. It's
Let's
funny
do it.
because same thing with. Okay, there you go. Confirmed. We're doing it. It's funny
go.
because similar for me
2026.
with like the first time first time I watched Daredevil, I only made it through like I think halfway through the first season, and then same thing for Punisher. Actually, I think I made it halfway through that first season, so it'll be a interesting revisit. But especially just going through Daredevil again and like seeing that character and the casting, and since then I've seen John Bernthal in other things, and yeah, he's just so fantastic and just taking the baton here. I think this is just such a great place to have the Punisher because it's a tricky character to just squeeze into a project because he is so extreme and so different than I think, especially like just other MCU things that are going on right now. We have killers, in the MCU, but like it not really a character
Ironheart.
like this. Yeah, exactly. So like
Wonder Man, big
just
killers
a completely different caliber of just brutality, and I think especially pulling from the fact that we've seen him already, like he has his own show and we've seen him in Daredevil and just seen the level of the brutality he has. In my mind, picturing where he would fit in an MCU project, it's like they would have to nerf him. They would have to take down a lot of the blood and what makes that character what he is. So I wouldn't want to do that. Whereas a special presentation, like you mentioned Werewolf by Night, like that had blood, it's a little gray in there, but it has viciousness to it, and I think the special presentations are just a nice little, it's like a little pocket dimension, in Doctor Strange terms, where like we can just do a story and not really feel like we have to tie it to anything, but also it's there, it's still in the MCU, so we can pull from it if we want to. So yeah, I think this is super super exciting. Not one I ever would have assumed we'd be getting in terms of special presentations, but it makes sense. And now that we're like jumping into Daredevil Born Again and just like other characters that he might be interacting with, it's a nice period. And Midnight Suns are always in the in the stars somewhere. Blade movie now is never gonna happen, but a character that could cross over.
Just give him a special at this point. My God, just get him in there, coach. Please. Espo says he'll be shooting nameless CGI creatures with gray-blooded suicide in Secret Wars. Oh, I'm down. I'd love it if he was in. At one point, he does get the War Machine suit, Frank Castle, and fuck yeah,
Ooh.
like I would love. It's got the Punisher logo on it and everything.
Damn.
Like I'd love John Bernthal up there with like, oh man, that'd be
No
so
crime.
good.
Better not to be doing any crime. Seeing War Machine
Yeah.
coming at
Putting on
you.
the record, I don't want that. I don't. Want
You don't want Frank Castle. to show
I
up
don't
with the
want
War
him in
Machine
the
suit?
freaking War Machine suit. No, I want him on the ground, boots on the ground.
He still does that. He just travels along quicker, But fair enough.
Too much scroll associations now with that character.
That's fair. To what Kirkland said, that is one thing that surprised me that they didn't. They must be confident. They didn't even wait to see what the Daredevil streaming numbers are like, because
True.
what
All
if
you had to
this
do is wait a week or two.
yeah. What if this just comes out and it's like, oh fuck, actually no one cares about Daredevil anymore, and
It
now
could
it's like,
supplement Daredevil too, right? Like hearing the Punisher's coming out, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's attached to Daredevil. Maybe I want to watch Daredevil now. I don't
yeah,
know. Seems like a minor niche category of people that they're trying to pitch to jump on a Daredevil, but timing is weird.
They seem to be happy with it because season 2 starts on Friday for Daredevil season, filming, and then they got Punisher. So I have some more stuff that me and Dylan are going to talk about with MCU shows because the Brad Winderbaum confirmed we're not doing the Okoye show. It sounds like that's what's so interesting about Star Wars, DC, Marvel. Sounds like Disney Plus in general is going a completely different route now with Marvel stuff. He even said some other things, but I'll save that for Thursday. Me and Mr. Mess will talk about that. Taylor Field, Punisher.
I think that this is going to be, awesome. I loved seeing Punisher and Bernthal as this character in the Daredevil show. It was really funny how heavily involved he was in season 2 and how we just got the whole court case just focusing on him. It was just so much just really focusing on this character. And so for me, it was really cool to just kind of connect with him. And I think that getting a little bit more of a focal point on this character is going to be great, and to have a little bit of a special presentation on him too is awesome. I'm going to definitely be there, and we were joking and talking about earlier, I'm totally down to watch Punisher season 1 and 2. I did not realize he had a second season. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I feel like, Dylan, am I wrong in saying, is it a shorter season 2? I feel like I remember it being small because remember Iron Fist 2 was shorter, and I feel like Punisher they maybe did that.
I can barely remember how to spell my own name sometimes. I have no idea how many episodes.
Are you looking that up right now, or is this back to the porn?
Back to the porn.
Okay,
Some
damn.
juices.
Punisher. Just saying.
R-rated.
I completely forgot because I only thought about you two boys. I didn't even think because I've been waiting for a chance. I'm gonna fucking announce this right here. We're just gonna do a full-on Punisher retro because I forgot there's 3 movies we can retro.
Well, Punisher Warzone.
Yeah,
Fuck,
there's
with
Dolph
Jigsaw?
Lundgren. Yeah, there's the Dolph Lundgren one from the 90s. There's the 2004 one with Thomas Jane and John Travolta. And then there's Punisher Warzone with Ray Stevenson. So we got those 3 movies as well. So yeah, Punisher retrospective 2026. Look out for it. Because there's a couple. We still haven't done like the 2003 Hulk. We still haven't done Elektra. So there's still a couple of that old Marvel guard we have not done. But Taylor Field.
There's 26 episodes, 13 and 13.
Okay. No,
each
I guess I
season.
just remember it being reduced, but there you go. So, but yeah,
ashes.
look out for
That was
that.
Iron Fist, I guess, right? That had
Yeah.
a shorter season.
Just because I think that that season 1.
They're like,
was
get
out
rid of
there.
this.
Yeah.
How can we end this sooner?
And my last question for you, Taylor: do you agree with Punisher's methods? Like in the real world, would you be doing that?
Would I be doing that in
In a
the real
War
world?
Machine suit?
Would you like someone doing that?
I mean, if I had the War Machine suit, sure, no. I think his level of justice is pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Okay, I was just joking. I didn't think he'd actually take the bait. But
yeah.
I support
He
it.
just gets like
anyways.
really political. Wow,
Yeah,
geez, since you bring it up,
Yeah, my
had a
cousin.
couple things on my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, my cousin's been on a rampage. But let's start there with Daredevil predictions. What do we think they actually do with Punisher? How many episodes is he in? What's his arc? We see him long hair, bearded. We see him shaven. That's why I've shaven the head like that because it's the Punisher. Fuck man, John Berthal. He has some curly hair that I can't pull off, but that's the look now. So what do we do with Frank Castle in this season of Born Again?
How many episodes again in this season
9.
coming up here? 9.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 3 episodes. One of them being just like a teaser in the way that we saw like Daredevil's mask in She-Hulk. But 2 episodes where there's some meat on the bone.
I think you're perfectly in the ballpark. I might say 3 and an end credit because now with this special presentation, maybe they do something to set it
an
up.
end credit. Yeah, good call.
Yeah,
good
I
call.
think that might be something. Did anyone? I have to look if anyone drafted him. I can't remember if anyone did. I'll take a look while someone's talking. The only thing, I don't know what the whole storyline is, right? Because Fisk's running for mayor, and it seems like maybe him and Matt start working together, and they, of course, divert, and Fisk goes off the deep end, and something happens with Vanessa. Imagine if Frank kills Vanessa. Fuck, man, that's a special. Is Fisk? Imagine a Fisk. But what I do want is because I said this, so I apologize to Dylan and
Poor
the people that
Vanessa.
listen to those reviews. I pitch this all the time. In season 2, they set up Fisk versus Punisher, and we've never cycled back to it. Like Punisher said, like, when you get out of here, I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, because it's such a great story of Fisk lets the Punisher out just to go kill other crime people, and then so when he can get out, he can be the top dog. But then Punisher is waiting for him. Of course, in Punisher, a bunch of family drama happens. Best friends bad, all this stuff, right? All these little twigs and twines. My hope is that we get back to, because that scene, and now that these two have seen it, the scene of them in the prison together, that's a top tier Daredevil episode of Punisher versus Fisk. So that's the only thing I'm hoping. I don't think it's going to happen in the season, but that's what I want. As I want a Berthnall, D'Onofrio scene and a content there. I really love, and that plays big in the Spider-Man animated series. Like, I want Punisher versus Fisk. If you tell me if that's a special, fuck yeah, like I'm there. Like, give us that rematch of them fighting in the jail. So this time Frank doesn't have the cuffs. Let's go. I'm excited. But what he does, I think what Dylan said, you tease him, you meet him, he gets in there, and then maybe they set up somebody's back and he's gonna go kill him. Hopefully it's not Jigsaw, but.
Yeah, no, I think you guys are pretty much there with where I would be thinking he would be. Maybe reduced it by an episode. I feel like definitely
one
set
episode.
up for a potential end credit leading into something. But I feel like it would be kind of just him helping out a situation more so than like being a big part of the show. Just because we had that in season 2 already of Daredevil. And that's not me saying I don't want it, because I think season 2 might be my favorite out of the Daredevil 3. I really, really love the inclusion of that character and just the storyline around him. But I'm ready to be born again and, travel into a different realm and not just rehash the same story that we had with Frank Castle. But I do want him to appear. Obviously, he's going to appear, so that's great. But I I want it to be just a more supplementary role, and then have him on his, because it just seemed like at the end of season 2 of Daredevil as well, it's like, okay, he's gonna go get the War Machine suit and fuck up some guy. No, I'm kidding. But he's ready to go and do something. So here I want to kind of see quickly what he's been doing, and then how he's able to help out comrade. What's his name? Matt. I almost said Charlie. Okay,
I will say, so we don't have a Defenders Daredevil season 3. When you're saying you want to know what he's been up to, they do answer that in Punisher season 1 and 2. So I don't think they're going to directly go. Yeah, I don't think they're going to directly recap the entire show. But I am wondering, like, in that show, Daredevil wants Frank to be in prison. He thinks he should be in prison.
Yeah.
So I'm really wondering what the dynamic this go around is. It's like, is that still not a thing? Has he just been like, yeah, whatever, I just accept Frank's a killer now? But it feels like he's always very like, no, we need, like, you're sick and you should be locked up. So, but they look like they're working together. So I'm very curious how that goes, or if it's like, after this I'm gonna lock you up and Frank gets out of there as always. I'm curious what the dynamic is for Matt and how deep he is into the.
It's like a Catwoman Batman situation. Those two.
They're a couple now. That'd be great. Taylor, any Punisher predictions?
Oh my goodness. I mean, you highlighted some really, really good ones with the season 2 of Daredevil, because there's a lot going on that they don't kind of follow through, and I just kind of figured, well, maybe Fisk pops up in Punisher season 1 and 2.
Never happened. I was pissed the whole time
because he really just lays it down hard on him, like, I'm gonna come and like fucking find you, and like he was pissed off that he was set up by Fisk. So that is a shame that they don't kind of touch upon that again. But I don't know what my predictions would be, and that's just because I feel like there's still a lot I don't know about the character. I really don't know where he was really just running off to at the end of the Daredevil show, and what he's trying to do now, what his motivations and his goals are now that he kind of found the truth about his family. So I don't know what to predict, really. I mean, he just finds another city with criminals and just starts killing them, I guess.
Well, at least because you guys watched it, the Punisher show sets up that there's more people to the family situation, so they didn't close that off. There's certain people that, yes, that's what that's about. Okay. Here's a fun one. I want to ask everybody, what's the Punisher's kill count in this show?
Ooh,
how many lives does he take? I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say 6. I'm going with 6.
He's double digits for sure.
Double digits? Oh my god. 15. If he's only in a couple episodes, he's a busy boy. But okay, Taylor's double digits, 15.
I'll go lucky number 3.
Okay.
Ooh, I was gonna go low too. I'll do lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7. Okay. Super Mike asks, do you think we'll finally get some concrete answers on how Kingpin got out of the deal he made with Daredevil at the end of season 3? That dangling thread still bugs me. Absolutely, I think so. Because the idea was like, Matt had this stuff on him, and if Kingpin got out of prison, he would send Vanessa to prison, right? And Vanessa, big character for right, Kirkland Taylor. You know that character. I think they will. I also think people don't. I know it's kind of lame as a crutch, but like the blip did happen, and I feel like a lot of shit that they can just go like, well, this and this happened in the blip, and we had to do this. And oh my god, if Vanessa got blipped, oh boy!
As they're like,
I'll kill you, Thanos.
Yeah.
He would take down Thanos. Imagine that in the portals, just like, where's Vanessa? You took everything from me, and Thanos like, I don't even know who you are.
In front of Vanessa.
Yeah. So I think they will answer that somehow, loophole. I think they kind of have to. If they just go like, well, yeah, he figured out how Vanessa won't go to prison. They don't tell us. That'd be kind of lame. But I think they will.
I think so too. Yeah.
Or just Vanessa died between shows. We just never see that character.
No, she's there. But because originally they recast her, and then when they did that whole shooting the show over, they brought the original actress back.
Vincent's like, you recasted Vanessa.
You recast Vanessa? How could you? Because he is in the chat, I'll bring up his questions. Dalton has 2. He asked, do we think there's going to be any MCU cameos in this show?
I think there's got to be.
Yeah, I would like
who?
Likely characters would be someone that's already interacted with Matt in the past. So of course we got She-Hulk comes to mind.
Won't be her.
Okay, won't be her. There you go.
I just-
got answered.
Echo, yeah. I just think
Maybe
She-Hulk's
Echo.
too comedic for what they're gonna go for here, and I feel like 'cause some people are like, "Fuck the She-Hulk show." I don't think they're gonna do it.
I'll go with Happy Hogan. I'll say he's in there.
Ooh.
That's a good get, and that's like a full circle. Why is it a full circle?
Spider-Man.
Circle back.
Yes,
I
thought
would
there
say
was some-
Spider-Man Peter Parker would pop in too.
No, oh, that's why it's a full circle because he played. That's where I was going. He played Foggy Nelson in the Daredevil movie. Remember? I don't know with Ben
Oh, yeah.
Affleck. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
I
his
did forget
Foggy.
about that.
Yeah, he's his Foggy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why
funny.
that'd be a very fun full circle. Yeah, Foggy would be great.
You're right.
Or sorry, Farrell would be great. I would love it. This would be the most hype one. Never gonna happen if the season ends because fucking Brave New World gave us nothing. But imagine those wings collapse and someone lands in Hell's Kitchen and it's fucking Falcon and he's asking about to be on the Avengers. I don't think they're gonna draft Daredevil Avengers, but
Like
man,
Little Falcons.
I feel like
no, I guess Captain America.
that's
right?
where I feel like that would be Happy's job based on what happened in Deadpool.
That was before the blip, though, so that's why it's probably changed now.
Oh,
that
God.
scene, yeah,
Timelines.
that scene happened before
Hate it.
that. Yeah, I don't know. It's not gonna be Spider-Man. I know people want that. That's not happening.
Scroll
I would love it. I think we've talked about yeah, Scrody. I would love it if it was like a Kate Bishop.
Scrody.
That's what they call him in Marvel Alliance, Scrody.
That's good.
Yeah,
I'm
shout out to
stealing
Brent and
it.
Chris. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love Kate Bishop, her to be fighting crime in New York and them to bump into each other.
That's a good one.
But like honestly, like if we don't get anybody else, I'm kind of fine because we got Punisher. I know it's not MCU cameo, but that's all I really need. But I don't know. Like I guess and like if it's Marvel overall, the other one I'm hoping for is Jessica Jones. I would love to see Kristen Ritter back. That's a big one
The rumors on that was that it's going to happen, and then it
Yeah.
didn't happen, right? But
because she was
we'll
filming
see.
a show that got canceled. So pick the wrong horse there.
Pick the wrong horse. I mean, I think they'll do. They'll have some of those ones from the Marvel Netflix, bringing those characters back for sure. But I feel like they gotta have some MCU stuff just to really solidify to people and prove, like, hey, this is the MCU now. I mean, I guess he's already appeared in a couple things, but just to make it clear, I feel like they want to do a little bit of that, be the talk of the town. And so I think you get one or two small ones in there, but nothing too meaty, I don't think.
This is why I hate that Moon Knight like went to Egypt and there was a fighting alligator and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Like if they went with the Moon Knight, if they went the Moon Knight where he was a New York crime fighter, that would have been so cool to have like practical
It's
suit. Get
possible.
Oscar
It's
Isaac
still
there.
possible.
Yeah, it's still there.
What else is
Taylor,
Oscar Isaac doing these days? Name one movie he's been in the last 3 years. You can't do it.
Dune.
3 years.
That was like 4 or
he's-
5 years ago.
He's in a Guillermo del Toro movie coming up next. He's in a Frankenstein movie. He plays Frankenstein and then Jacob Lordy's the monster. So there you go.
Okay, he's working.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I can't remember who the bride. Oh, the bride's Mia Goth. So fuck, that's gonna be good. Taylor, any MCU people, and do we get your precious Iron Fist here?
I would
Rider?
hope we get the legendary Danny Rand.
Ghost Rider.
Get
I
Danny
hear
Rand in
devil.
there. Get was it Colleen?
Colleen Wing. Yeah.
Colleen.
Get her in there too. Yeah, I'm super down to have some of those reoccurring characters pop back in, but I would love to have some larger than life MCU familiar faces pop in.
Who's your pick then?
I mean, I would
Thor?
love to see Spider-Man, but you said that's not going to happen.
No, Sony won't let that happen.
So aside from that, who else would be pretty cool to see?
Scar.
Who's in New
You're always
York these
pitching
days?
Scar.
Norman Osborn. Throw in Norman Osborn. It's
Norman.
Oscorp Tower in there. That'd be pretty hype.
Scar might be in New York. I don't know. Actually, no. I guess She-Hulk was in New York. She was somewhere
He's in a
else.
grave in New York.
Punisher killed him. What the fuck is that? Imagine that.
Or Kingpin kills him. Is that Thanos? And then takes him out.
Yeah. You took Vanessa. Where is Vanessa? She's still not back. She's like that Martin Starr character where she pretended she was dead, like after the blip, but she didn't actually get blip. Remember? Far from, that's what she's like. Yeah. Say anybody. You said someone big, but you other than Spider-Man, you haven't thrown anybody.
Said larger than life.
No, larger than life. Yeah.
Larger than life. Someone super, super big then, eh? I would probably want to see. Yeah, Thor's not going to pop in there. I can't see a Hulk popping in there. I don't know. I'd take a Doctor Strange popping in.
They're in New York. You know.
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah, I want Charlie to get in there. I know they're happy that he's in the TV world, but just now I'm back to where we were in Netflix, where I'm like, I just want him back in the movies too. But
He was in a movie.
yeah, I know, but like one scene, like again, and now it sounds like we're not doing the team. If we were getting Spider-Man and Daredevil in 4, then I'd be happy. But Tom also asked, what is something you hope is improved upon for the new Netflix Daredevil show that was opposed to the Netflix show? Sorry, tired. I've heard there's some maybe wonky CGI in the show, so it's a little disappointing. But what I would want, and I bet this is where it is, I want Matt and Daredevil to be more of a gymnast. That's what I loved about the way he moved in She-Hulk. That moment where she like looks off the building and he's like flipping around and everything. Like in the comics, there's so many panels of him jumping and doing crazy flips, and he has his batons that have like the hooks and everything. Like I want them to. The Netflix shows, I appreciate that they went very grounded, but they also didn't have the budget for that. If this is like given it a little bit more budget, I don't want to go crazy, but I would just love to see Matt flipping around a lot, because it's it's like a Batman thing where there are aerial fighters as well too. So and give them the double Ds as well. They haven't given them double Ds. I think this is the best version of the suit, but why is there still no Ds on there? So don't worry, Dalton, you worded it bad and I read it bad, so we're a winning combo here. Don't worry. So but we know what you meant. But yeah, and I guess I'll save this for the desk, but like less of storylines I don't care about, aka like I'm not sad if we lose Foggy, and there's lots of times where it just felt like Netflix like, we need something for Foggy to do. Let's send him to the biker club. It's like, no, I don't need that. The same way of like, I don't like that Matt has a new girlfriend, and I'm so worried. It's like, oh, she's a tough cop on the side, and here's her. Like, I really don't want that. I'm fine with, and I like Kara more than Foggy, but I'm literally just fine with just Matt and Kingpin and go from there and have people come in. But it's just like, I hate when this is 9 episodes, so maybe not. So I would like that where I don't need Foggy and what's his girlfriend's name? I can't remember what it was.
Marcy?
Yeah, Marcy. Yeah, that she like college. Like not that she was in a bunch, but just being like sometimes I feel like those characters were just needed something to do. It's like just give Charlie Cox more time. Oh, we have to pay him more. Well, then fucking pay him. He's great. So that's my thing is Daredevil be more gymnast and less side plots that are just kind of feel like filler. So.
Yeah, that's because that's been a long time since I've watched a show. It's hard for me to really remember anything I don't like, which is a good sign, of course. But I think it would be that for me is like those shows always had some what felt like filler storylines in the side, and I kind of feel like that's not really an MCU thing. If we look at like the Disney Plus shows, I mean they're not very long, generally speaking, and I feel like they are pretty to the point. There isn't a ton of weird stuff happening on the side. There's a little bit of it, so I guess that would be mine too. Just focus. Zoom in, focus, have a good time.
The tough thing, though, is if in Netflix they focus, I don't think you, me, Dylan would have got Meech and Ward, because that's one of those stories, that complete side character doing random stuff that
yeah,
we
but that's
loved,
different when like the
hated.
main guy, the show's selling point is weak. You
That's
need
true.
something
Yeah.
like that to fill it in. With Daredevil, he's great. We don't need stuff on the side to fill in the blanks.
I love Ward. Taylor, you just
Bring him
recently
back.
watched all of Daredevil. Anything you want to prove upon?
I would appreciate not having like 4 or 5 episodes of just sulking Matt Murdock.
Oh,
Well, then you're
no
in the wrong
sulking.
place, because that's what Daredevil does. Like,
But
I
if
haven't
I watched
finished your full
Defenders,
season 3 review.
if I watched
What
Defenders,
was
then
that?
it would have made sense, right? I would have understood like why he's so down the dumps.
But first of all, you don't think in season 1 and 2 Matt's like a depressed character at times? He's a
But
Catholic boy.
we get the
Have
build
you
up
seen
to
this guy's
it.
apartment? It's
We get
dour in
the
here.
reasoning and the build up towards it when certain things happen and some backstory. But this, it was just like, he wakes up in the rubble and then he's just in
Well,
the bottom
again, you
of
didn't
a
watch
church.
Defenders. I did
And
tell.
he's like,
Before people listen to the review, I did tell these guys to at least watch a YouTube video about Defenders, and they did not. When you get 5 minutes in a review, they're like, maybe this happened, maybe this happened. Like they're like,
You could have just watched me and Travis's review of Defenders.
Yeah, there is key
Bad
stuff that
audio.
happens
It
there.
took so long.
But
Hey, simmer down.
Daredevil is often depressed. I thought you were gonna just say less Kingpin or something, because you guys are just haters over here. So
Less sulky and Kingpin as well, just to add on to what Taylor said. No, it's funny. I agree with everything that you guys said for like just what I would change. So definitely I'll agree there. I probably more aligned with Taylor on the fact of not just because Matt is so in between the dourness and just fighting like his internal faith and stuff like that. And like if that's who the character is, that's who the character is. I just want to feel like he's evolved and he's growing, because we did 3 seasons of Daredevil of him doing that. And if this is just back to square one, where he's just going over the same types of emotions of like, is what I'm doing right? Should I go further? Should I go to the level of killing someone? Like I should like. I feel like we've already gone down that road, so I just want it to feel like an evolved Matt Murdock here, and not just, well, it's a new MCU Daredevil here, so we're gonna have to maybe cover stuff that we already did because not everyone watched Daredevil Netflix. So I don't know.
I feel like based on that critique, Kirkland's not gonna be happy with this season. I feel like we're gonna
probably. I mean, I
think you're
not spoil all my thoughts
happen.
on those retros, but I feel like I found out a lot about Daredevil, and it's like, man, this character is actually maybe not as aligned with what I like about characters like I thought he would be. Great look, great fight scenes. I do want more comic booky type fight scenes, like acrobatics, like what you said, Travis. We got that in Spider-Man. That was really cool.
Did we? Oh, the
Friendly
animation.
Neighborhood.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what cut of No Way Home did I miss? Like,
He
like,
fucking
deleted
just
scene.
popped off
Yeah.
on Norman.
he was on the Statue of Liberty with the 3 Spider-Men. Hey guys,
When they throw the brick, he actually jumped out the window, grabbed the brick, threw it back at the offender.
beat the shit out of Fender and walked into prison. Yeah.
The Superbad Mike is. What does he mean? The showrunner agrees. Like the showrunner agrees with it, Matt and Murdock being too negative. Or?
There was a quote. I think you must not been in the Discord where he said he didn't want. I can't remember the wording, but I'm pretty much paraphrasing where they didn't want the show to be a bunch of the heroes sitting around talking about what does it mean to be a hero and sulking, all that stuff. They didn't say sulking. For me, that's not a good sign because like the best moment of the show is Punisher and Daredevil on the rooftop talking about what does it mean to be a hero, and Punisher being like, well, you're not actually a hero because you put them down, they get up. I put them down, they stay down. You know, like I think my worry is they keep the two things everyone keeps saying in these interviews is like it's really mature and it's just like Netflix. But I feel like they don't talk about the actual show, and I think there is a reason why the critics have only seen 2 episodes. I'm not saying I want to be negative, but it is Disney Plus, and we've been there. But we've been there before when Secret Invasion started good, right? And there's decline. So I think, like, as much as you guys bring that up, like, I think that might be a thing that's always Daredevil. He's always like dealing with who is he and what does he mean for the city. So that's just Daredevil, like, all the time. So I think you do lose some of the core stuff there. And I've not liked many of the showrunners' comments. I can't remember some other stuff he said, but there's and even when you just started me like, oh, we did something even more gnarlier than Netflix, it's just like, all right, like, again, like I didn't watch the show for it to be mature. I didn't watch it because I wanted the action scenes. That's great, but I watched it for the character stuff. But we'll see. Maybe he's just a bad interviewer, you know? So
Possible.
yeah. Any major deaths? You know, Dalton asked about. We always talk about deaths. Fogg, he's a goner. He's a dead man.
Why do you say that?
He's just done. I just think it's.
Does he die in the comics?
No, everybody dies in the comics. He's died in the comics, and Elektra took over. So I don't think that's happening. I just think Foggy's a dead man with certain things they've talked about instead of just like, oh, some big stuff's gonna happen. We want to make big moves, and yet, and just I think Foggy is he's no more, and I'm okay with that because I never loved the Foggy Nelson Netflix character. I like the comic book version a bit more. So, and I don't think so. It better not be Kingpin. Kingpin better stay alive, and he better not end up in prison again. Like, I don't need him to go back to prison. There's
what do you
my
do then?
note.
Where do you put him?
He gets away with it, and Matt has to struggle with that because if they're doing a season 2, or like, I guess it's Born Again season 2.
Yeah,
I think
true.
yeah, like maybe Kingpin loses, but not back to prison, because season 1 he went to prison, season 2 it was about him being in prison, then season 3 he went back to prison. So have him win. Have him beat Daredevil this season. Have the good guy lose, and like that's another thing.
Infinity War moment leading into the second season, maybe they're going for that.
Or maybe I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Vanessa dies either. And that
I was gonna say that was gonna be my pick.
That could be
Vanessa.
something. That could be that, because imagine Daredevil or Kingpin going to next season. Like, we meme about it, but imagine literally imagine Matt Murdock accidentally killing Vanessa. Something like Kingpin is gonna lose it. So I would kind of like them to kill Vanessa, even though I really like that actress. So those are my 2.
I mean, that would be good. Frick, those are good ones. I don't know if What about Karen? Do you think she's good? She's chilling?
I think so, yeah. And I hope they get her in that Punisher special or whatever, because that's my ship right there. They have more
that's a
chemistry
great
than
combo.
that.
Those two.
Yeah, so I hope, and
Both
I like
killers.
Karen. So She killed one guy, okay? Just
Hey, it only takes one.
Wesley counts as at least 10 people.
that was self-defense. He was gonna kill her. That doesn't count as a kill. Like, come on. But
Oh, it counts. If you ask Kingpin, it counts.
I think, I agree with the Foggy thing. Not as I think Vanessa could be next season, potentially, but I think Foggy's had his time in the sun. Yeah.
I really like Foggy, so I don't want him to die. I really like his character a lot. He's so innocent and justiced.
He's a good guy. He's not a good
what? What was that word you made up?
Justiced.
Okay, that's a Travis Snellright word right there. That's not a real word.
No, it's not real.
All words are made up.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Benjamin Poindexter, Bullseye? Is he gonna make it out? Because he's in the season. So is he?
He is in this season, eh?
Yeah, is he gonna make it out?
He's
could
got
be a
the
catch.
suit now too, doesn't he? I think I
He
saw
does got the
photos.
Bullseye suit. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's gonna
make
be the
it.
one that kills Vanessa. That's gonna.
He should. Fuck
Yeah.
after what Fist does to him and everything. But no, I think they'll keep him. I think, and I hope so too. I want them to keep Bullseye around. So.
Yeah, I think he's alive.
Yeah.
Who else is there? That's kind of everyone.
They're introducing White Tiger, so he could always die. He's another street fight character, but like his daughter's the more popular one. At one point, there was a big rumor that Jen Ortega was playing his daughter, but that's not true at all. That's just fake.
His name is
scoops.
White Tiger, is what you said?
Yeah, White Tiger.
And what's the daughter's superhero name?
White Tiger. She takes the mantle.
Oh, okay.
Good snap card.
Yeah, he dies, and she's like, "I'm
a
gonna be the White
classic.
Tiger." So
Gotcha.
I think he'll die, and I'm not saying because the actors unfortunately passed away since they filmed it. I just think that they're gonna set up the daughter taking the mantle. So
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll get new people who die potentially, but
yes,
I think especially with
lots
the
of
season,
civilians.
with the season kind of being split into two, like you don't want to overload this first half with just
yeah.
bodies. You know, you got to save
Yeah.
some of that.
What
Street
about Matt?
Thug 2 will die, I'm sure.
What
Yeah.
about Matt's new girlfriend? I don't know her name, but she's a girl. I don't know what she does. I've not looked into it, but he does have a new like girlfriend. Like, does she die? Does she know he's Daredevil? Does she not? Like, there's another storyline where I don't also need where it's like, I love that we have Foggy and Karen. They know he's Daredevil. That's something that's checked off. If we just get to like, oh, he's got another girl and she doesn't know, I don't need that. I also don't need that in the show for me.
Good point. I think I think they break up early on because he's too busy being Daredevil.
Yeah.
I think she dies. I think I could see Fist
Jesus.
killing her.
Jesus.
A Vanessa for a
You
Vanessa.
took my Vanessa.
Yeah.
I took your Vanessa. Her name's Sharon. Any other than I know Taylor has something cooking over there, but anything else
yeah.
prediction wise we've not covered. Post credits, I just feel like Punisher, setting up Daredevil season 2, probably like those two things. Nothing
Yeah.
else? Jones, is that where you could see Jones? Like if you were to do something
Indiana
there,
Jones?
maybe.
Davy Jones.
Wouldn't that be massive? It's just like Harrison Ford. Hey, Red.
So-
he's like a time traveler now.
Red Hulk. Yeah.
Right.
Season 2 is it coming next year for sure
Yep,
at this point?
that's what
Do
they
we know?
said. That's what they said this week.
Yeah. So I just feel like there's not a lot of there isn't really room to do some big setting him up for Avengers kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? Just because of that. So I think it will just be boring. Like how long ago do you guys think they knew they were going to do this Punisher thing? Because that's news now, but like has that been in the works or is that a pretty knee-jerk reaction to recent developments and other cancellations?
Yeah, it's tough because they canceled those 3 shows and there's other things. I would say in Q4 they probably sat across it.
Okay,
and
so I'm going to say
figured
that
it out.
maybe that's not what we're going to get here then as a post-credit. Maybe that's
Yeah.
just too reactive. It wasn't enough in development, you know.
But then
Even though
again,
they can quickly film one scene and throw it in there, but
Yeah.
still.
I was gonna say, I guess they did say that Punisher thing's coming out next year, though. So I feel like they're confident enough to be far along, be like, yeah, it's coming out next year. Obviously, delays can always happen, right? But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, Taylor, let's end this episode. Lay it on us. Well, we'll take another ad break and then lay it on us. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Just in case.
Well, sorry.
anyone
One
else-
other thing. Do you guys think this show's going to do well numbers wise? Is it gonna break some records? Is it going to be par for the course, middle of the pack, bottom tier, Disney Plus? Where's this one going?
I hope we get the numbers. I'm gonna say like. I was gonna say bottom of the top tier, but I just don't know what the hype for Daredevil is. Like in a good way, I could see it being bigger because I think bottom of the top tier is like Moon Knight because I think it's like like Loki, WandaVision, Falcon, Hawkeye, and Moon. I think actually Moon Knight is like tied with Hawkeye or something. So I feel like it's gonna be like in the like the Hawkeye Moon Knight realm. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I was gonna say upper echelon of those tiers, but like what you said, Travis, like the bottom of the upper.
It ain't being
section.
Loki, or Wanda, like not being those two. So
I'll go number 3. It becomes the third.
Ooh.
beats
Third
Falcon,
biggest.
Winter Soldier. I could see that.
Sure, why not?
I could see 3 or 4. I'm with you, Dylan.
Nice.
All right, Taylor, what was the prompt you put in the chat GPT to get? Did you ask for a season 4? Did you ask for a season of show television? What did you ask it for?
So first I said, do you know the Disney Plus series Hawkeye and Echo? I was like, yes. And so that I wanted to make sure it knew its history just to pull from. And then I said, okay, perfect. Are you also familiar with the Netflix show Daredevil
No.
and the other characters affiliated with that for Daredevil's 3 seasons? Like, yes.
Yes, but
I'm
I haven't
familiar
seen
with that.
Defenders. Is that what it said?
Yeah, that's what it said, yeah.
You ask it knows about Defenders? No, never heard of it.
So I wrote, okay, perfect. So between that Netflix series and the 2 Disney Plus series and other appearances with Daredevil, can you write me a 1-season story for the new
You
new
wine and
Daredevil
dine to
show?
this fucking bot over here.
So that's where I basically dropped it. I also mentioned too, like, make sure you know that this is connecting into the larger overall Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that's it. So
God damn.
it starts off. It's the main show. The name of this show is called Daredevil Shadow War instead of Born Again.
Which is
and then,
better because, like, I hate that they're calling it Born Again. That was season 3. They adapted the storyline, but here we are.
So episode 1, The Devil's Return. Matt Murdock, now a low-profile defense attorney, after the events of She-Hulk, is reluctantly pulled back into action when Karen Page and Foggy Nelson,
I got to stop you already. They say he's a low profile
defense attorney.
That it would make no sense. As like the last time I saw him, his case was Spider-Man, which would be one of the biggest cases in the world. You are now defending the guy that they revealed as Spider-Man, an Avenger. There's
Well,
no
Taylor
low
didn't
profile.
ask
No
if
one
it's in
remembers who-
Spider-Man.
No one
That's true.
remembers that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, so it's not
There's
high
still
key
record of
profile
that
anymore.
court, but that doesn't make sense. So we're not going to get into this.
But there
because,
wouldn't be record because it would have been wiped.
Doctor Strange magic, it's gone.
So what about like all the records in the court would be wiped?
Yeah.
So all footage of Peter Parker would be wiped too?
Yeah. He doesn't have a
No,
birth
that's not what
certificate
happened.
anymore, so he's
It
out.
said that people forgot about Peter Parker, not that he didn't exist.
So then the case would be forgotten about.
But there's still be video footage of Peter Parker.
But no one's gonna look
video,
into the
forgot
video
about
though.
And there's still a thing of like Spider-Man was defended.
No one's gonna look
People
into
know
it.
of Spider-Man. They know who Spider-man is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
And
no one
Matt
knows he's
Murdock
Peter Parker.
But Matt Murdock defended Spider-Man
Defended Peter.
for being Spider-Man.
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work out in court. I think
It's dumb.
everyone
it's
forgot.
dumb. No Way Home,
Oh.
dumb ending. After all this time. Go ahead. Okay, low profile, sure.
Low profile, yeah. So Karen Page and Foggy Nelson uncover evidence that Fisk is rigging the upcoming mayoral election. Fuck. At the same time, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, investigates a series of brutal gang killings that seem connected.
Brutal gang killing.
Gang killings. Oh, jeez. Sure, bloody.
Brutal
Well,
gang
he's been
killings
busy.
that seem connected to someone he thought had disappeared, Frank Castle. Daredevil suits up again, only to find Fisk's reach is deeper than ever. In a shocking moment, Foggy is murdered by an unknown assassin.
Wait, is this episode 1 still?
This is episode 1, yeah.
Foggy's gone. 20 minutes.
Sending Matt into a spiral of guilt and rage. Meanwhile, Vanessa Fisk is seen pulling political strings behind the
I
scenes.
lost Vanessa in the blip, so meet my new wife, Vanessa.
This episode is 6 hours long. Oh my god.
Yeah.
There's a lot
100%.
going on here. So she's pulling political strings behind the scenes, ensuring her husband's rise to power. Episode 2, The King City. Fisk wins the election, making it nearly impossible to touch him legally. His first order, a new anti-vigilante task force led by a dangerous figure, Benjamin Poindexter, Bullseye, freshly released from a hidden government facility and under Fisk's control. Matt, grieving Foggy's death, struggles with his morality, while Karen spirals into reckless investigative journalism. Daredevil and Spider-Man cross
What?
paths.
Spirals into reckless journalism?
Reckless
My
investigative journalism.
I
Oh,
thought they were
sorry.
gonna say
sorry.
spirals into something else because she's like a drug addict.
I thought
in the
that
comic
too.
books, so I thought that's where we're going. But
Reckless journalism is like an oxymoron. That is crazy. But
she's Frank Castle up there.
Daredevil and Spider-Man cross paths investigating the escalating crime wave. Meanwhile, Castle hunts down Fisk's lieutenants, brutally executing them one by one, leaving the city in terror. Vanessa, meanwhile, begins to question the extent of her husband's brutality, creating subtle tension between them.
Okay, come on.
Subtle tension. I like
Season
subtle
4,
tension.
and you're like, maybe he's a bad guy. I don't know. Fuck.
Episode 3, Shadows and Symbols. Daredevil and Spider-Man investigate a secret arms deal between Fisk's people and rogue remnants of the Hand. Peter, still adjusting to being completely forgotten by the world, confides in Matt about his struggles. Meanwhile, Frank...
I don't know you. Leave me alone.
Meanwhile...
You defended me.
I haven't
I'm
seen
in the
that season.
Defenders.
Frank captures and tortures a high-ranking crime boss, uncovering evidence that Fisk has a hidden agenda beyond mere political power. Poindexter begins his relentless hunt for Daredevil, leading to a brutal rooftop battle that ends with Matt barely escaping. Vanessa plays a quiet but pivotal role organizing alliances between her husband's criminal associates. However, Frank, having uncovered her involvement, ambushes her at a private gala, but she narrowly escapes with her life, shaken but determined.
That does have to be probably one of the most scary things ever. You just see, like, door gets kicked and it's just Frank, the fucking skull. You're like, it's over for you.
In the War Machine suit, too.
Hey, Vanessa, this is the ex-wife.
Episode 4, Blood on the Streets. Fisk unveils a citywide surveillance system to track down vigilantes, forcing Matt, Peter, and Frank to rethink their approach. Karen is hospitalized, leaving Matt feeling utterly alone. Fisk personally lures Daredevil into a trap, leading to one of the most brutal fights in the series. Poindexter mortally wounds Jessica Jones, who sacrificed herself to save Matt in an alleyway
She showed
ambush.
up for one episode. Hey, Kristen, we'd like you back. I just got some questions about the script. I'm coming back, and you're going to kill me off? Yeah, we want to close out the Netflix era. And wow. So Bullseye kills her, you're saying?
Bullseye kills her, yeah. She sacrificed herself to save Matt in an alleyway ambush. Meanwhile, Castle, in an act of sheer vengeance, executes an entire gang loyal to Fisk, leaving a bloody message, "No kings." Holy shit.
Sounds great.
Vanessa, still reeling from her near-death experience, urges Fisk to consider an exit strategy before they lose everything. Episode 5, No Man's Land. We got... Yeah, okay, this and 3 more episodes. With the city in lockdown, vigilantes being hunted, Daredevil, Spider-Man, Frank Castle form an uneasy alliance. Karen is kidnapped by Fisk's men and used as bait. Peter infiltrates Fisk's tower, uncovering files indicating a secret project, the Rebirth Initiative, an attempt to create super-enhanced enforcers loyal to Fisk.
Jesus.
Meanwhile, Bullseye, now completely unhinged, tracks down and kills Detective Mahoney, a longtime ally of Matt's,
Poor
intensifying the stakes. Vanessa, realizing Fisk will never stop, begins making plans of her own. Episode 6, War on Two Fronts. As Castle continues his war, he faces off against Fisk's personal enforcer, an old adversary, John Pilgrim, from Punisher Season 2.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Matt breaks into a high-security black site to rescue Karen, only to find her tortured and barely alive. Spider-Man battles Bullseye in a high-speed chase across the city skyline, leading to a shocking moment. Bullseye nearly kills Peter, only for Daredevil to save him at the last second. Fisk orders full martial law in Hell's Kitchen, making it clear that no one is safe. In a grim turn, Frank is captured and publicly executed by Fisk's forces.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So wait, we never see Punisher and Kingpin fight. It's just Kingpin's forces execute. You know Berthal would fucking kill that scene though. Like the public, you know, fucking do it. Like he would destroy that scene. But damn. R.I.P. Frank.
Sending a terrifying message to the city, Vanessa, seeing the monster Fisk has become, begins contemplating leaving him for
Because he
good.
killed the Punisher.
Who tried to kill her? Who she nearly escaped from?
One of the most diabolical motherfuckers in comics history. Like, I can't believe you killed the Punisher, Wilson. How could you do that?
Episode 7, The Fall of a King. The final battle begins. Daredevil, Spider-Man, and what remains of the street-level heroes launch an all-out assault on Fisk's empire. Luke Cage arrives, but even he is overwhelmed by Fisk's sheer brute force.
Okay, stop.
Is he die or is he just get knocked out?
He's
This is overwhelmed.
He's overwhelmed.
Kingpin, I can sometimes be like 2% body fat. Luke Cage could take bazookas to the chest. Like he should do, like he could
He's
walk the
overwhelmed.
floor with
He got
Fisk's
between him and
sheer
Vanessa, though.
brute force.
Yeah. Okay. Continue.
Karen, barely able to walk, helps expose Fisk's crimes to the public.
What a terrible season for her. Sad, hospitalized, kidnapped, tortured.
Tortured.
Yeah, Jesus.
Barely walk.
Foggy's dead.
Helps expose Fisk's crimes to the public, triggering mass riots. In a brutal confrontation, Daredevil finally beats Bullseye, leaving him paralyzed. Peter sabotages Fisk's surveillance network, exposing his darkest secrets. And Fisk, however, refuses to go down easily, killing several police officers as they attempt to arrest him. During the battle,
What did happen to Luke Cage? So he was just overwhelmed.
he was overwhelmed.
Give
He
it
tapped out.
return back
I'm
to
overwhelmed.
I'm out of here, guys. Sorry, next time.
Killing several police officers as they attempt to arrest him. During the battle, Vanessa is tragically killed in an accident, falling from a
God.
high-rise balcony amidst the chaos.
The season's
both-
wild.
As both Wilson Fisk and Daredevil witness her death. In a rage-fueled breakdown, Fisk fights Matt with a level of brutality never seen before, leading to their final showdown. Episode 8, The Devil's Reckoning. With Fisk in custody. Oh, I guess that's it. He got arrested.
Brutal showdown like you've never seen before. What was the last line of that episode again? Can you read that again?
Fisk fights Matt with a level of brutality never seen before, leading to their final showdown.
Yeah, it's just like Matt kicking his ass anyways, and he just gets
Next
arrested.
episode, he's in cuffs.
He like cut to black. You're like, oh, I can't wait to see that happen. He's just like, oh, you got me, man.
Matt reflects on what it means to be Daredevil. Karen leaves New York, unable to endure any more
Good.
loss. Peter, still anonymous, thanks Matt for his help before disappearing into the night. In a grim turn, Fisk from his prison cell orchestrates another major attack, killing several key figures in New York's law enforcement, proving that his grip on the city remains. Matt, standing on a
Cliffhanger. Oh my
rooftop,
God.
realizes his war is far from over.
Lock him up, and he feels like, I'm just gonna kill more police. Let's keep doing it. Okay, so
Okay, that's it. In a post-credit scene,
yes.
The Devil's Bargain. In a dimly lit high-tech facility, a shadowed figure.
Wait, what was this?
A dimly lit high-tech facility.
Okay, and that's
It's so
what's
high
right. They
tech. Why
actually
is it so fucking dim? Like, I'm sure they could get better lighting.
remember they did that with Moon Knight. Remember Ethan Hawke, the final boss fight? They did that, and he just woke up and he was
That's
standing
true.
over Ethan Hawke, and they're like, "Oh, that was his third personality that did it." But yeah,
That's
they
true.
could. That's what they're gonna do.
I did not remember that.
I don't know.
So a shadowed figure walks past rows of heavily armed guards, stopping at a reinforced cell door. Inside, a bruised and bloodied Wilson Fisk sits, staring ahead, emotionless. The door hisses open, and the visitor steps forward, a tall, imposing man in a long coat. As he steps into the light, his face is revealed. Baron Zemo. You took quite the beating, Zemo says in a cold, measured voice. But men like us, we never truly lose. We just wait for the right time. Fisk, without looking up, smirks slightly. And what time is that? Zemo leans in, his gloved hand tapping the table. A time when the real war begins.
Where are we going? Vanessa's gone. Fisk is lonely.
Caresses Fisk's face.
Yeah.
Men like me and you, we got to stick together and do something about this town. Whatever that. Just the same quote from fucking Morbius.
Fisk has never been so hard. That's
Yeah,
it.
there you go. That's
okay,
it.
There you go. Perfect. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. We will be back next week. If you like Daredevil, we got obviously got this guest we just did. You got the retrospectives. You got a whole bunch of stuff. Go check that out. But we will be reviewing it weekly, and it will not be boring.